Hello, my name is Deanne. This is Deanne's Treasure Studio, where I read gaming content not available on Audible. So gather around, friends, to hear Chapter 1, Preparing for Adventure. Chapter 1, Preparing for Adventure. In this chapter, you prepare for your first game of Dagerheart. The upcoming sections describe Dagerheart's world-building fundamentals, then walk you through creating a character while providing information on each of these classes, domains, ancestries, and communities. World overview. Dagerheart encourages the exploration of worlds filled with great magic, wondrous landscapes, mystical beasts, dramatic fractions, rousing mysteries, and powerful foes. While the world of your table collaboratively creates will be your own, Dagerheart has established ancestries, communities, classes, abilities, and spells. So, some world-building aspects will exist similarly across every campaign. The following section describes the core realms, where these shared details derived from these details can always be reflavored or modified to match the style of game of your group wants to play. When creating your table's unique world, you can use one of the following as a starting point: an existing location you're already familiar with, a supplemental setting book, the guide for creating your own world in the running a campaign section in chapter 3, or a campaign frame from chapter 5. Core realms. The core realms are the basis for the world-building elements inherent to many Dagerheart's mechanics, such as its ancestries and adversaries. The mortal realm. Most adventures will likely take place in the mortal realm. This is the land, sea, and sky where mortals live out their entirety of their lives, the plane where the majority of maternal beings and objects exist. Stories say that this realm was created by the forgotten gods during the earliest age, and that these immortals traveled between the hollows above and this new plane is as easily as waking from a dream. During this time, the gods were familiar to the mortals, and acts of divinity were commonplace. B. They were wonderful or terrifying. When the forgotten gods were overthrown by the new gods, many of these ancient deities were trapped within this plane eternally. This realm is also occupied by the faint divinities, lesser deities, created by both the forgotten realms and the new gods to oversee the mortal realm. Many are considered to be quite capricious and thought their spheres of influence are smaller than the gods who created them. They can greatly influence the lives of mortals. The hollows above. The hollows above are the collection of terrific territories that once belonged to the forgotten gods before the new gods claimed it, and at the end of the earliest age. Because this place is closely connected with most of the other realms, the gods residing here can see and speak with the creatures of the mortal realm without leaving their domain. Through those with whom the gods communicate may find their methods strange or obfuscated. There are ways by which the new gods can leave the hollows above to occupy other realms, but in the current age, they must always sacrifice something of personal importance to do so. It's rumored that this burden was necessitated by their desire to protect the hollows from the forgotten gods' should they arise again, as the forgotten gods or any other being from the mortal realm would also have to forfeit much to enter the hollows above. These sacrifices have caused some of the great calamities that have befallen the mortal realm in the recent millennia. The circles below. The circles below are the collection of lower realms where the forgotten gods, those who fought the most passionately during the uprising, were banished. Known as the fallen gods, these deities lost the divine war with the new gods during the earliest age and have since been deemed evil practitioners of the tainted magic. Thus, the faint divinities who were banished alongside them are commonly referred as demons, and those that descended from these creatures are also bear the weight of that identifier. The circles below are considered places of corruption, destruction, and violence. Stories say that this domain is home to some of the most dangerous creatures in the core realms. Most of the planes have safeguards against fallen who wish to cross from the circles below. Within the mortal realm, the use of arcane magic in the acts of great evil is said to open a temporal rift between the two planes, allowing the fallen to pass through. The realms beyond. The cosmos holds many realms beyond these. The elemental lands, the astral realm, the valley of the dead, and the countless others. Ascending and traversing these planes from the mortal realm is required specialized knowledge and a hard-learned skills. Still, some of the beings in the core realms regard these secrets closely and could be persuaded to share them for a price. I'm sorry, but this picture of the Leone looks like AI to me because of the spectacles you have. It's not like a monocle, but it's like a pair of glasses that they just forgot the other side of it because it has the bridge. Like it's supposed to have another half. Oh, but whatever. We're going to continue reading. Page 12. Magic and spells. Depending on the kind of character you play, you may or may not have the ability to use magic. Magic in Dagerheart is both very powerful and incredibly dangerous. Permeating the land and manifesting within the people, it is both a force in you that can aid you throughout your journey and force outside of that affects the world, and a force outside that affects the world. If your character does have the power of spellcasting, you'll use magic, though specific weapons, spells, and other means. As characters grow, the magic can perform grows with them. Each level you gain cards that describe the new powerful magic they can wield and specific parameters for using it. Flavoring your game. If the default portrayal of your character's mechanical effects doesn't fit them, their style, you can always describe them in a way that does. This is often called flavoring. However, unless your table agrees that flavoring shouldn't offer any mechanical effects beyond the effects existing description. For instance, you might say that your rogue's magic takes on the form of gauntlets and inverts instead of magically covering a dark cloud. They drop a smoke-like grenade, or perhaps your ranger's magic takes the form of ancestral spirits who draw forth the forces of nature. Perhaps magic works an entirely different way in your lore and your explanation how every class's power emerges from different source. As long as it abides by the mechanics of the game, you're encouraged to flavor your magic that suits your character. You can reflavor items, such as your characters might have a unique weapon from their heritage, but it uses the statistics of the long sword. Your wizard's armor might come from a form of a set of empowered runes instead of chainmail, but they still have the armor slots you can spend and reduce damage in the case. Repairing your armor during the rest can mean replenishing the enchantment. The adjusting abilities and spells section of this chapter suggests other ways you can tailor your spells and abilities to fit your character and comfort level. Page 13, character creation. Unless you're GM, the first step of the Dagerheart is to create your character. Oh, excuse me. It says, unless you're the GM, that makes more sense. The first step of Dagerheart is to create your character. In addition to choosing their class, community, and ancestry, you're also responsible for crafting their physical appearance, personality, and prior experience, as well as their relationships with the other characters. Some of these decisions are purely narrative, meaning they only appear in the game through your role playing, but others are mechanical choices that affect the actions you're more or less likely to succeed at when you're rolling your dice. Getting started. Before you create your character, discuss the campaign with your table and begin brainstorming ideas. Tip: there are many mechanics mentioned in the character creation section that will be fully covered in Chapter 2. Have a session 0. If you're preparing to start a new campaign with your group, we recommend that you use your first session together to build characters and talk about the world you're playing in. This is often called Session 0. See Session 0 and Safety Tools section on page 169. And is the best way to ensure that everyone is on the same page about the tone and the feel of the campaign, so you can create characters who work well together. Think about character concepts. Before you begin the character building process, it can be helpful to review the materials and formulate an idea for what type of character you want to play. Your concept can be surface level and general, such as a circus performer who uses magic or a captain who lost his ship at sea, but having been the basic starting point will help you make choices as you move through each of the following steps. Step 1. Choose your class. The first step of the character creation is to choose the class you want to play. Each class is a role-based archetype that determines what abilities you have access to throughout the campaign. For example, you might choose to play a guardian if you want to be the tank of your group who runs through fights headfirst and protects others with their own life. You might choose to be the wizard if you want to cast unique spells to solve problems, heal party members, and wield cunning battle magic. Once you've chosen a class, you'll also choose a subclass. The subclass are subsets of each class that further define your character's archetype. Page 14, class options. The following classes and subclasses are available in the core rulebook. Bard, subclasses, troubadour, or wordsmith. Play the troubadour if you want to play music to bolster your allies. Play the wordsmith if you want to use clever wordplay and captivate crowds. Druid, subclasses, Warden of the Elements or Warden of Renewal. Play the Warden of Elements if you want to embody the natural elements of the wild. Play the Warden of Renewal if you want to use powerful magic to heal your party. Guardian. Subclasses, we have the Stalwart or Vengeance. Play the Stalwart if you want to take heavy blows and keep fighting. Play the Vengeance if you want to strike down enemies who harm you or your allies. Ranger. Subclasses, Beastbound or Wayfinder. Play the Beastbound if you want to form a deep bond with an animal ally. Play the Wayfinder if you want to hunt your prey and strike with deadly force. Page 15. Rogue. Subclasses, we have the Nightwalker or Syndicate. Play the Nightwalker if you want to manipulate shadows to maneuver through the environment. Play the Syndicate if you want to have a web of contacts everywhere you go. Sephara. Subclasses, Divine Wielder or Winged Sentinel. Play the Winged Sentinel if you want to take flight and strike crushing blows from the sky. Play the Divine Wielder if you want to dominate the battlefield with a legendary weapon. Sorcerer. Elemental Origin or Primal Origin. Play the Elemental Origin if you want to channel the raw power of a particular element. Play the Primal Origin if you want to expend the versatility of your spells in powerful ways. Warrior. Call of the Brave or Call of the Slayer. Play the Call of the Brave if you want to use the might of your enemies to fuel your own power. Play the Call of the Slayer if you want to strike down adversaries with immense force. Wizard. School of Knowledge or School of War. Play the School of Knowledge if you want a keen understanding of the world around you. Play the School of War if you want to utilize trained magic for violence. You can learn more about these subclasses in the upcoming class section. Page 16. Character sheet. Character guide and subclass card. Once you've chosen your class, grab the corresponding character sheet and character guide, then decide on a subclass and take the subclass's foundation card. The character sheet is for recording your character's details, so make sure you have paper or a digital copies available. If you're filling out the hard copy, use pencil, as you'll change details on the sheet as your character levels up. You can find a complete character sheet in the upcoming chapter character section. Customized character sheets and character guides are available for download at www.daggerheart.com. A general character sheet is available in the appendix. Record your level. Characters in Dagerheart start at level 1. Record your level in the appropriate section on the top of your character sheet and make sure to change it every time you level up. We recommend starting your campaign at level 1, but a more experienced table can start at a higher level if your GM and players prefer. Record character details. At any point in the character creation process, feel free to fill out your character's name and pronouns at the top of the line, as well as the character description details on the character guide. For some people, a character's name and appearance come first. For others, it takes time to discover what's right. As long as you have a name and a description, by the time your table finishes with the character creation, it doesn't matter in what order you complete these steps. Class features. Every class begins with a unique class feature, or several. You don't have to write these features down. You're provided with a bottom left of each class's sheet. There are features available only to your class. If your class feature asks you to make a selection during the character creation, make it before the first session. Step 2. Choose your heritage. Next, choose your character's heritage. This aspect of your character includes two elements: their ancestry and their community. Choose your ancestry. A character's ancestry reflects their lineage, impacting their physical and granting them two unique features. Take the card for the one of the following ancestries, then write its name in the heritage field of your character sheet. Clank, Furbolg, Human, Dracona, Fungril, Infernus, Dwarf, Galapa, Katari, Elf, Giant, Orc, Fairy, Goblin, Ribbit, Fawn, Halfling, Simia. You can learn more about these ancestries in the upcoming Ancestries section. Choose your community. Next, you'll choose your community from the available community cards. Your character's community is influenced by its physical location, values, and goals. It informs the culture of your character grew up and mighty play in a part of the way they look, act, or approach situations. Each community comes in with a feature that you can utilize during the game. Take the card for the one of the following communities when you write its name in the heritage field of your character sheet: Highborn, Ridgeborn, Underborn, Loreborn, Seaborn, Wanderborn, Orderborn, Slyborn, Wildborn. You can learn more about these communities in the upcoming community section. Languages. In Dagerheart, you're not asked to pick specific languages for your character. The game assumes that everyone speaks a common language. It's up to you whether that's through the mundane or the magical means, and the sign language is widely understood across the cultures and communities. If you'd like to have specific regional languages in your campaign, discuss options with your table. Page 17, Step 3. Assign character traits. Next, you'll assign values to the character traits on your character sheet. These values reflect your natural or trained ability in each of the core 6 stats: agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge. Each trait lists verbs such as sprint, leap, and maneuver that show the types of actions a character might perform that involve that trait. These examples are in just inspiration. You shouldn't limit yourself how each trait can be used. Agility. Sprint, leap, maneuver. A high agility means you're fast on your feet, nimble on difficult terrain, and quick to react to danger. You'll make an agility roll to scurry up a rope, sprint to cover, or bound from rooftop to rooftop. Strength. Lift, smash, grapple. A high strength means you're better at feats that test your physical prowess and stamina. You'll make a strength roll to break through the door, lift heavy objects, or hold your ground against a charging foe. Finesse. Control, hide, tinker. A high finesse means you're skilled at tasks that require accuracy, stealth, or utmost control. You'll make a finesse roll to use fine tools, escape notice, or strike with precision. Instinct. Perceive, sense, navigate. High instinct means you have a keen sense of your surroundings and natural intuition. You'll make an instinct roll to sense danger, notice details in the world around you, or track or elude a foe. Or an elusive foe. Excuse me. Presence, charm, performance, deceive. A high presence means you have a strong force of personality and a faculty for social situations. You'll make a presence roll to plead your case, intimidate a foe, or capture the attention of a crowd. Knowledge. Recall, analyze, comprehend. A high knowledge means you know information others don't and understand how to apply your mind through deduction and inference. You'll make a knowledge roll to interpret facts, see patterns clearly, or remember important information. Distribute trait modifiers. Trait modifiers are values associated with each trait. When you make an action roll using one of these traits, that trait modifier is added to the roll to determine the final result, or subtracted from the roll for a negative modifier. Distribute the following starting modifiers across your character's traits in any order you wish: +2, +1, +1, 0, 0, -1. When distributing these modifiers, consider what actions you want your character to be good at, what weapon you want to use your attacks, and what kind of spellcasting you'll be doing, if any. Weapons and spells are covered in future sections, but the character's guide for your class offers suggested placement for your modifiers if you want a starting point. You can also rearrange your modifiers as needed during your character creation as well as after your first session of play. If you ever need to refer to your trait modifiers as values, if a card or effect refers to your agility, presence, etc. A +2 would be considered a 2 and a -1 be considered a -1. For example, if your domain card says that you place a number of tokens equal to your character's knowledge on that card and your knowledge is a +3, you place 3 tokens on that card. If you have a negative modifier in this trait, you instead would place no tokens on the card unless otherwise noted. Page 18, Step 4, record additional character information. It's time to take a quick break from making choices and instead fill out a few sections of your character sheet. Evasion. Your character's evasion reflects how hard it is for adversaries to hit them. Your class's starts evasion appears at the right beneath the evasion field on your character sheet. Copy the number into the evasion field. When an adversary makes an attack roll against your character, the GM rolls against their evasion to see if the adversary succeeds. You can choose how your character's evasion manifests within the narrative. A wizard might avoid blows with a shimmering arcane shield or bat away adversary spells, while a ranger nimbly dodges out of the way of the attacks, and a warrior parries, blocks, and dodges. Your character's evasion starts low, but that's because it's not their only means of avoiding damage. If they're hit, you also have the opportunity to reduce the incoming damage using armor, hit points, and stress. Your character's health and well-being are represented by hit points and stress. Hit points, sometimes called HP, are an abstract reflection of your physical fortitude and ability to take hits from both blade and magic. Each class starts with a set of numbers, hit points. Stress reflects your ability to withstand the pressure of dangerous situations and a mental strain. Every class starts with a 6 stress. You can describe your character's hit points and stress any way you wish, but they generally represent the character's ability to get knocked down and keep coming back. You'll mark your character's hit points and stress when these situations arise. The fewer the marks you have, the better. Hope and fear. Hope and fear are currencies used in the players and the GM to represent the way the fate turns or against the characters during the game. You start with 2 hope. Mark these in the hope field of your character sheet. Anytime you roll with hope on your duality die, meaning your hope die rolled higher than your fear die, you gain a hope to a maximum of 6. During the game, you can spend hope to help your character's allies apply their life experiences to challenges and empower their spells and abilities. If you instead roll with fear on your duality die, meaning the fear die rolled higher than the hope die, your GM gains a fear that they can spend on certain effects. Sometimes a fear roll introduces other complications into a scene, even if you succeeded on the roll. Step 5. Choose your starting equipment. Next, you'll choose starting equipment, armor, and other items for your character. Choose your weapons. You use physical weapons to attack your foes, and if you have a spellcast trait, such as from the subclass, you can also wield magic weapons. At character creation, you can choose either two-handed primary weapon or a one-handed primary weapon and a one-handed secondary weapon, then equip them. You can find weapon suggestions at the top of your character guide, but if you'd like to choose your own, you can find all starting tier 1 weapons in the primary weapons tables and secondary weapons tables sections in chapter 2. These are also available as separate sheets to print out from the Dagerheart website or in the appendix. At level 1, your proficiency is 1. This means you'll roll 1 damage die on your weapon attacks. In active weapons area of your character sheet, this is recorded in the proficiency field. Okay, you have a tip here in the area of your character labeled damage die and type. Record your damage die with the proficiency value already written in, like open parentheses, 1d6 plus 3, close parentheses, instead of open parentheses, d6 plus 3, close parentheses, to remind yourself how many weapon dice to roll. Whether you increase or your proficiency or also increase the number of die in the damage field to reflect this change. For example, when your proficiency becomes 2, you would change it to open parentheses 2d6 plus 3, close parentheses instead. Choose your armor. You use armor to reduce the severity of oncoming attacks at character creation. You can choose one set of armor and equip it. You can find armor suggestions at the top of your character guide, but if you'd like to choose your own, you can find all starting tier 1 armor in the armor table section in chapter 2. These are also available as a separate sheet to print out from the Dagerheart website or in the appendix. When your character equips armor, record its details in the active armor fields of your character sheet. And armor's damage threshold, shown in the base thresholds column, indicate how much damage a character can endure before taking hit points. Add your character's level of both values and record the total both numbers of the corresponding fields in the hit points and the damage thresholds section of the chapter 2. You will learn how many hit points to mark on your character sheet each time your character takes damage. Page 19. Then in the armor field at the top of your character sheet, record the armor score. This score includes the armor's base value shown in the base score column, plus any permanent bonuses your character has to their armor score from their other abilities. When your character takes damage, you can mark one of the small shield symbols next to your armor called armor slot. Then reduce the severity of the damage by 1 threshold. Severe to major, major to minor, or minor to none. You can only mark 1 armor slot per attack, and you have a number of slots equal to your armor score. Choose other starting items. Your inventory includes anything else your character is carrying. The top of your character guide lists all their starting inventory items, which include the following: torch, useful for illuminating dark room; 50 foot of rope, useful for climbing a wall or grappling down a cliff; basic supplies, tent, bedroll, tinderbox, rations, etc. A handful of gold. Record this in the gold field in the left-hand column of your character sheet. Your choice of a minor health potion, clear 1d4 hit points, a minor stamina, clear 1d4 stress. And either options of your character guide is specific to your class. You might also be asked to choose what you use to carry your spells. Record these items in the inventory fields of your character sheet. This equipment is available to use during your party's adventures in any way that fits the shared story. We encourage you to use items creatively, as long as the GM agrees and it fits in the rules within the game. You can also talk to your GM about other items you'd like to have at the start of the game. There are no rules limiting the size of your inventory, bag of holding. So, items that don't provide a mechanical benefit but making sense for your character to have are normally okay, but your GM always makes the final call. Step 6. Create your background. Next, explore your character's background by by answering the background question in your character guide. Several prompts are provided to jumpstart inspiration, but you or the GM can modify or replace these questions to fit the character you're looking to play. The prompts are jump-off points if you don't know where to start, but they should never inhibit your creativity. The decisions you make about your character's background are purely narrative, but they deeply impact the character you're playing and the story the GM is preparing for your adventures. Over the course of your character's creation, feel free to adjust the mechanical choices you made in the earlier steps to better reflect this background as you shape your character. If you're planning on playing in a campaign, you can continue developing your character after the background questions whatever works best for you. Just remember to give the GM your background so that they can work any people, places, or ideas from it into the campaign. You can also choose not to do any more background work, instead finding out more about your character as they play. Learn in the process. That's fun for you. Page 20. Step 7. Create your experiences. In Dagerheart, your character's experiences are one of the core ways you express your backstory and experience through mechanics. An experience is a word or phrase used to encapsulate a specific set of skills your character has acquired over the course of their exciting life. Your character starts with 2 experiences at character creation, each with a +2 modifier, and they'll learn more throughout your adventures. Before creating experiences, you'll want to have a solid idea of your character, who your character is. The background questions are especially helpful for this. When you're ready, work with your GM to create 2 experiences that have shaped your character. There's no set list of experiences to choose from, though we offer options for inspiration under experience examples. Instead, find a word or phrase that embodies something distinctive about your character. Each experience should be specific, for example, talented or focused, or too broad, as they can apply to almost any situation. Instead, you might use swashbuckler or magical studies. Additional to your character's experience, can't give them spells or specific game abilities. For example, take flight or one-hit kill are too mechanically oriented. You might consider a plot or assassination instead. You are encouraged to add flavor to your character's experience to give it more varied use in play. For example, instead of just assassin, you could choose assassin of the Sapphire Syndicate. Details like this give your GM an exciting faction to weave into the campaign and also make it easier to use this experience outside of combat. For example, if your character encounters an ally of the syndicate, they might be particularly adept at negotiating with that NPC based on their experience. Once you've decided on your character's 2 starting experiences, record them in the experience fields of your character sheet and assign a +2 to both. Tip: if you're not sure what experiences to take, consider the style of campaign you're playing in and the actions you'll want to perform. In a standard battlefield campaign, it's never a bad idea to take your character's first experience into something that will help with combat, and the second experience is something useful outside of combat. Experience examples. Backgrounds: assassin, blacksmith, bodyguard, bounty hunter, chef to the royal family, circus performer, con artist, fallen monarch, field medic, high priest, merchant, noble pirate, politician, runaway scholar, sellsword, soldier, storyteller, thief, world trader. Characteristics: affordable, battle-hardened, bookworm, charming, cowardly, friend to all, helpful, intimidating, patient, leader, lone wolf, loyal, observant, prankster, silver tongue, sticky fingers, stubborn to a fault, survivor, young and naive. Specialties: acrobat, gambler, healer, inventor, magical, historian, map maker, master of disguise, navigator, sharpshooter, survivalist, swashbuckler, tactician. Skills: animal, whisperer, barterer, deadly aim, fast learner, incredible strength, liar, light feet, navigator, photographic memory, quick hands, repair, scavenger, tracker. Phrases: catch me if you can, fake it till you make it, first time's the charm, hold the line, I won't let you down, I'll catch you, I've got your back, knowledge is power, nature's friend, never again, no one's left behind, pick on someone your own size, the show must go on, this is not a negotiation, wolf in sheep's clothing. Using experiences. When one of your character's experience fits the situation at hand, you can use the experience to showcase your expertise. Before you make an action or a roll, you'll have to spend a hope and add the experience modifier to the roll's result. Sometimes more than one of your character's experiences is a good fit for the situation. For example, if your character is trying to sneak past a guard in the dark, or I live in the shadows and stealthy experiences, I would both apply. If it fits the story, you can add more than one experience modifier to the roll, spending a hope for each. Changing experiences. Your character has the opportunity to gain new experiences as they gain levels. However, if you discover that your character has outgrown previous experiences or it doesn't feel right anymore, you're not stuck with one you've already chosen. For example, you might find that your character's stealthy experiences no longer matches the head-on way you've learned to solve problems. Or perhaps your group likes to solve things diplomatically first, so your characters catch them all by surprise. Experiences isn't a good fit for the table's collaborative story. That's totally okay. Work with your GM to find experiences that better align with your storytelling goals with the actions of your character would be good at. And we're moving on to page 21. Step 8. Choose your domain cards. Domains are the core building blocks of Dagerheart's classes. The following domains are included in this book: Arcane, Blade, Bone, Codex, Grace, Midnight, Sage, Splendor, and Valor. Each domain has a domain deck. A deck of cards containing abilities and spells with a certain theme or focus. For details on each domain represents and how to use your domain cards, see the upcoming domains section. Each class in Dagerheart is formed by combining two of these domains. For example, the warrior class comprises blade and bone. The druid comprises the arcane in the sage, and the rogue comprises of the midnight and grace. This combination is noted at the top of the character sheet for each class, and the colors and symbols are found on the subclass foundation card. To start, look at level 1 cards of your class's 2 domains and choose 2 cards, returning the rest to their respective decks. Yes, because you want to stay organized. You can take 1 of each domain or 2 from a single domain, whichever you prefer. These cards grant you special spells and abilities. You'll choose another card each time you level up. Tip: all domain cards text can also be found for reference on page 328. Shared domains. Each class shares a domain with at least one other class. For example, Blade is shared by Guardian and Warrior. Sage is shared by a Druid and a Ranger. Grace is shared by the Bard and the Rogue. If a fellow player class has the same domain as yours, we encourage you to coordinate with each of them to choose different cards from your domain deck, even if your group has multiple copies. This way, each player feels distinct and shines when they bring their unique abilities into the story. However, if the GM and the players agree, feel free to make an exception. Sharing cards is common when more than one player chooses the same class, or when 3 or more players share the same domain. As always, it becomes down to the open communication between the players and the GM. If you need extra copies of cards, you can download and print them at home. Step 9. Create your connections. You've almost finished creating your character. Now it's time to forge their connections. These represent the relationships and personal history between your character and their fellow party members. Once your group is comfortable with their finished or almost finished PCs, summarize your characters for each other. At minimum, share their name, pronouns, and character description, experiences, and the answers to the background questions. But feel free to include any details you'd like other players to know. Then work together to decide how your characters are connected and how they feel about each other. The connections section of your character guide provides inspiration. We recommend you pick up at least one question to ask another player for their character to answer. But you're welcome to create new questions. You can always turn down a question or relationship suggested by another player if it's not good fit or not a good relationship you're interested in exploring. While it's great to create connections in every character, it's perfectly okay if you're not sure about some of them yet. And you always discover your relationships through play. These connections are starting points to build on during the game. After the party's connections are complete, you're ready to play. The rest of this chapter contains resources to use when building your character, such as information on domains, classes, ancestries, and communities. Chapter 2 then represents the rules you'll use to play in Dagerheart. Page 22 and 23 are just examples of your character sheet. That is very visual, nothing I can really read to you. So look that up. Why don't you? Page 26. Reading domain cards. During character creation and as your character levels up, you'll gain increasingly powerful domain cards, which provides features you can utilize during your adventures. Some domain cards provide moves that you can use, such as unique attacks or a spell. Others offer passive effects, which always apply when you hold that card, new abilities to use during downtime or social encounters, or even one-time benefits. Each domain card includes 5 elements. Level 1. Number 1, level. The number at the top, it's number 1 and then level. To clarify, the number at the top of the left of the card indicates the card's level. You can only choose domain cards of your level or lower. Number 2, domain. Beneath the card's level, there is a symbol indicating its domain. You can only choose cards from your class's domain. Number 3, recall cost. The number of lightning bolts at the top right of the card shows its recall cost. This doesn't affect you at character creation, but once you reach level 5, you'll have more cards than space in your loadout. Your set of 5 active cards. See the loadout and vault section on page 101. You can normally only move an inactive card from your vault to your loadout during downtime, but you can mark a number of stress equal to a card's recall cost to swap it immediately. Number 4, type. The card's type listed in the center above the title. There are 3 types of domain cards: abilities, spells, and grimoires. Abilities are typically mundane in nature, while spells are magical. Grimoires are unique to the codex domain and are a collection of smaller spells bundled together. Some game mechanics only apply to certain types of cards. Number 5, feature. The text on the bottom half of the card describes its feature, including any special rules you need to follow when you use that card. Page 27, class. This section details each Dagerheart's classes. Your chosen class grants the following domains. Each class lists 2 domains that serve as the basis for abilities. You can choose cards from these domain decks during character creation and when leveling up. Starting evasion. Each class has its own starting evasion. Starting hit points. Each class has its own amount of starting hit points. Class items. Each class has a unique set of starter items. Class feature. Each class has a unique class feature or set of features. Class hope feature. Each class has a special move that they can make by spending 3 hope. Your chosen subclass grants the following. Spellcast trait. If you're a spellcaster, this is the character trait for your subclass uses anytime you make a spellcast roll. Foundation feature. The foundation feature is the unique starting feature that establishes the identity and strength of the subclass. Specialization feature. The specialization feature is more advanced feature or set of features you can gain when you level up. For some of the subclasses, the specialization feature is a new ability. For others, it expands the ability of the class foundation feature, making it even more potent. Mastery feature. The mastery feature is your subclass's most powerful feature, which you can gain at higher levels. For some subclasses, the mastery feature unlocks an extraordinary new ability. For others, it's an impressive accumulation of their subclass's core feature. The foundation, specialization, and mastery features each come with a card that you can choose to take as one of the benefits of leveling up. The cards hold information about the features for quick reference. The following class sections refer to many mechanics and terms that will be taught throughout Chapter 2. Use the index to navigate these concepts as needed. Page 28, we have the Bard. Bards are the most charismatic people in all the realms. Members of this class are masters of captivation and specialize in a variety of performance styles, including singing, playing musical instruments, weaving tales, and telling jokes. Whether performing for an audience or speaking to an individual, bards thrive in social situations. Members of this profession bond and train at schools or guilds, but a current of egotism runs through those of the bardic persuasion. While they may be the most likely class to bring people together, a bard of ill temper can just as easily tear a party apart. Beware. Domains, Grace and Codex. Starting evasion, score 10. Starting hit points, 5. Class items, a romantic novel or a letter never opened. Bard's Hope feature, making a scene. Spend 3 hope to temporarily distract a target with a close range, giving them a -2 penalty to their difficulty. Class feature, Rally. Once per session, describe how you rally the party to give yourself and each of your allies a rally die. At level 1, your rally die is a d6. A PC can spend their rally die to roll it, adding the result to their reaction roll, damage roll, or to clear a number of stress equal to the result. At the end of each session, clear all unspent rally dice. At level 5, your rally die increases to a d8. Bard subclasses. Choose either the troubadour, which sounds like it sounds like an instrument, which is appropriate, or a wordsmith. Subclass, troubadour. Play the troubadour if you want to play music. To bolster your allies. Spellcast trait presence. Foundation feature, gifted performer. Describe how you perform for others. You can play each song once per long rest, relaxing song. You and all allies within close range clear a hit point. Epic song. Make a target within close range temporarily vulnerable. Heartbreaking song. You and all your allies within close range gain a hope. Specialization feature. Maestro. Your rally songs steal the courage of those who listen. When you give rally die to an ally, they can gain a hope and clear a stress. Mastery feature. Virtuoso. You are among the greatest of your craft, of your skill is boundless. You can perform each of your gifted performer features songs twice instead of once per long rest. Wordsmith. Play the wordsmiths if you want to use clever wordplay and captive crowds. Spellcast trait. Presence. Foundation features. Rousing speech. Once per long rest, you can give a heartfelt, inspiring speech. All allies within fear range clear 2 stress. Heart of a poet. After you make an action to roll to impress, persuade, or offend someone, you can spend a hope and add a d4 to the roll. Specialization feature. Eloquent. Your moving words bolster morale. Once per session, when you encourage an ally, you can do one of the following. Allow them to find a mundane object or tool they need. Help an ally without spending hope. Give them an additional downtime during their next rest. Mastery feature. Epic poetry. Your rally dice increases to a D10. Additionally, when you help an ally, you can narrate the moment as if you were writing the tale of their heroism in a memoir. When you roll a D10 and as your advantage die. Background questions. Answer the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. Okay, so we have who from your community taught you to have such confidence in yourself? You were in love once. Who did you adore and how did they hurt you? You're always looked up to another bard. Who are they and why do you idolize them? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer or create your own questions. What made you realize we were going to be such good friends? What do I do that annoys you? Why do you grab my hand at night? Page 30. Druid. Becoming a druid is more than an occupation. It's calling for those who wish to learn from and protect the magic of the wilderness. While one might underestimate the gentle druid who practices an often quiet work of cultivating flora, druids who channel the untamed forces of nature are terrifying to behold. Druids cultivate their abilities in small groups, often connected by a specific ethos or locale, but some choose to work alone. Those years of study and dedication, druids can learn to transform into beasts and shape nature itself. Domains, Sage and Arcana. Starting evasion, 10. Starting hit points, 6. Class items. A small bag of rocks and bones or a strange pendant found in the dirt. Druid's Hope feature. Evolution. Spend 3 hope to transform into a beast without marking a stress. When you do so, choose one trait to rise by +1 until you drop out of the beast form. Class features. Beast form. Mark a stress to magically transform into a creature of your tier or lower from the beast form list. You can drop out of this form at any time. While transformed, you can't use weapons or cast spells from domain cards, but you can still use other features or abilities you have access to. Spells you cast before you transform still active and last for their normal duration, and you can talk and communicate as normal. Additionally, you gain the beast form's features, add their evasion bonus to your evasion, and use their trait specified in their statistics for your attack. While you're in beast form, your armor becomes part of your body, and you mark armor slots as usual. When you drop out of the beast form, those marked armor slots remained marked. If you mark your last hit point, you automatically drop out of this form. Wild touch. You can perform harmless, subtle effects involve nature. You can perform harmless, subtle effects that involve nature, such as causing a flower to rapidly grow, summoning a slight gust of wind, or starting a campfire at will. Druid subclasses. Choose either the Warden of the Elements or Warden of Renewal subclass. Warden of the Elements. Play the Warden of the Elements if you want to embody the natural elements of the wild. Spellcasting trait, Instinct. Foundation feature, Element Incarnation. Mark a stress to channel one of the following elements until you take severe damage or until your next rest. We have Fire. When an adversary within melee range deals damage to you, they take 1d10 magic damage. Earth, gain a bonus to your damage thresholds equal to your proficiency. Water, when you deal damage to an adversary within melee range, all other adversaries within very close range must mark a stress. Air, you can hover, gain advantage on agility rolls. Specialization feature, elemental aura. Once per rest, while channeling, you can assume an aura matching your element. The aura affects targets within close range until your channeling ends. Fire. When an adversary marks one or more hit points, they must also mark a stress. Earth. Your allies gain a +1 bonus to strength. Water. When an adversary deals damage to you, you can mark a stress to move them anywhere within very close range of where they are. Air. When you or an ally takes damage from an attack beyond melee range, reduce the damage by 1d8. Mastery feature, elemental domain. Domain. You further embody your element. While channeling, you gain the following benefits. Fire. You gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency for attacks and spells that deal damage. Earth. When you would mark hit points, roll a d8 per hit point marked. For each result of 6, reduce the number of hit points you mark by 1. Water. When an attack against you succeeds, you can mark a stress to make the attacker temporarily vulnerable. Air. You gain a +1 bonus to your evasion and fly. Warden of Renewal. Play the Warden of Renewal if you want to use powerful magic to heal your party. Spellcasting trait Instinct. Foundation features Clarity of Nature. Once per long rest, you can create a space of natural serenity within close range. When you spend a few minutes resting within this space, clear a stress equal to your instinct, distributed as you choose between you and your allies. Regeneration. Touch a creature and spend 3 hope that creature clears 1d4 hit points. Specialization features. Regenerative Reach. You can target creatures within very close range with your regeneration feature. Warden Protection. Once per long rest, spend 2 hope to clear 2 hit points on a d4 allies within close range. Mastery feature Defender. Your animal transformation embodies a healing guardian spirit. When you're in beast form and an ally within close range marks 2 or more hit points, you can mark a stress to reduce the number of hit points they mark by 1. Background questions. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. Why was the community you grow up in so reliant on nature and its creatures? Who was your first wild animal you bonded with? Why did your bond end? Who has been trying to hunt you down? What do they want from you? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. What did you confide in me that makes me leap into danger for you every time? What animal do I say you remind me of? What affectionate nickname have you given me? Page 32, we have beast form options. When you use your beast form feature, choose a creature category of your tier or lower. At the GM's discretion, you can describe yourself transforming into any animal that reasonably fits into that category. Base form categories are divided by tier. Each entry includes the following details. Creature category. Each category name describes the common role or behavior of creatures in that category, such as Agility Scout. This name is followed by a few examples of animals that fit in that category. In this example, fox, mouse, weasel. Character trait. While transformed, you gain a bonus to the listed trait. For example, while transformed into the Agility Scout, you gain a +1 bonus to your agility. When in this form drops, you lose this bonus. Attack rolls. When you make an attack while transformed, you can use the creature's listed range trait and damage dice, but you use your proficiency. For example, as an Agility Scout, you can attack a target within melee range using your agility. On a success, you deal D4 physical damage using your proficiency. Evasion. While transformed, you add the creature's evasion bonus to your normal evasion. For example, if your evasion is usually an 8 and your beast form says the evasion is a +2, your evasion becomes a 10 while you're in that form. Advantages. Your form makes you especially suited to certain actions. When you make an action or reaction, roll related to one of the verbs listed for that creature category, you gain advantage on that roll. For example, an Agility Scout gains advantage on rolls made to sneak around, search for objects or creatures, and related activities. Features. Each form includes unique features. For example, an Agility Scout excels in silent, dexterous movement, but they're also fragile, making them more likely to drop out of beast form. Tier 1 Agile Scout. We have the fox, mouse, weasel, etc. Agility +1, evasion +2, melee agility is D4 physical. Gain advantage on deceive, locate, sneak. Agile, your movement is silent, and you can spend a hope to move up to far range without rolling. Fragile, when you take major or greater damage, you drop out of beast form. Household friend. Cat, dog, rabbit, etc. Instinct +1, evasion +2, melee instinct D6 physical. Gain advantage on climb, locate, protect. Companion, when you help an ally, you can roll D8 as your advantage die. Fragile, when you take major or greater damage, you drop out of beast form. Nimble grazer. Deer, gazelle, goat, etc. Agility +1, evasion +3. Melee agility D6 physical. Gain advantage on leap, sneak, sprint. Elusive prey. When an attack roll against you would succeed, you can mark a stress and roll a D4 to the result of your evasion against the attack. Fragile. When you take major or greater damage, you drop out of beast form. Pack. Predator, coyote, hyena, wolf, etc. Strength +1, evasion +1. Melee strength D8 +2 physical. Gain advantage on attack, sprint, track, hobbling, strike. When you succeed on an attack against a target within melee range, you can mark a stress to make the target temporarily vulnerable. Pack hunting. When you succeed on an attack against the same target as an ally who acts immediately before you, add a D8 to your damage roll. Aquatic scout, eel, fish, octopus, etc. Agility +1, evasion +2, melee agility D4 physical. Gain advantage on navigate, sneak, swim. Aquatic, you can breathe and move naturally underwater. Fragile, when you take major or greater damage, you drop out of beast form. Stalking, anacrid. Tarantula, wolf spider, etc. Finesse +1, evasion +2, finesse, melee finesse, D6 +1 physical. Gain advantage on attack, climb, and sneak. Venomous bite. When you succeed on an attack against a target with melee range, the target becomes temporarily poisoned. A poisoned creature takes 1d10 direct physical damage each time they act. Web slinger. You can create a strong web material useful for both adventuring and battle. The web is resilient enough to support one creature. You can temporarily restrain a target within close range by succeeding on a finesse roll against them. Tier 2, Armored Sentry, Armadillo, Pangolins, Turtle. Oh, pangolins, they're endangered species. All right, Strength +1, Evasion +1, Melee Strength D8 +2 physical. Gain advantage on Dig, Locate, Protect. Armored Shell, your hardened exterior gives you resistance to physical damage. Additionally, mark an armor slot to retract into your shell. While you're in your shell, physical damage is reduced by a number equal to your armor score after applying resistance, but you can't perform other actions without leaving this form, of course. Cannonball! Oh, that sounds fun. Mark a stress to allow an ally to throw or launch you into an adversary. To do so, the ally makes an attack roll using agility or strength, their choice, against the target within close range. On a success, the adversary takes D12 +2 physical damage using the thrower's proficiency. You can spend a hope to target an additional adversary within very close range, to range of the first. The second target takes half of the damage dealt to the first. Powerful beast. Bear, bull, moose, etc. Strength +1, evasion +3, melee strength D10 +4 physical. Gain advantage on navigate, protect, scare. Rampage. When you roll a 1 on a damage die, you can roll a d10 and add the result to the damage roll. Additionally, before you make an attack roll, you can mark a stress to gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency for that attack. Thick hide, you gain a +2 bonus to your damage thresholds. Some cultures even ride moose, which they're kind of mean, so... Mighty Strider, camel, horse, zebra, etc. Agility +1, evasion +2, melee agility D8 +1 physical. Gain advantage, leap, navigate, sprint. Carrier. Oh, I guess the moose isn't a carrier. You gain up to 2 willing allies with you when you move. Trample. Mark a stress to move up to close range in a straight line and make an attack against all targets within melee range of the line. Targets you succeed against take a D8 physical damage using your proficiency and are temporarily vulnerable. Striking serpent, cobra, rattlesnake, viper, etc. Finesse +1, evasion +2, very close finesse, D8 +4 physical. Gain advantage on climb, deceive, sprint. Venomous snake, make an attack against a number of targets within very close range. On a success, the target is temporarily poisoned. A poisoned creature takes 1d10 physical direct damage each time they act. Warning, hiss. Mark a stress to force any number of targets within melee range to move back to very close range. Pouncer, predator, cheetah, lion, panther, etc. I'm not sure why role-playing game writers are so confused, but panther simply means black cat, specifically and exclusively the large variety of cats. Sorry, house cats. Melanistic coloration is a genetic mutation that afflicts cougars or pumas in North America. In other parts of the world, it's the jaguar, and the leopard can also be panthers. I'm not sure why getting animals wrong annoys me, but it does. I digress. So the cheetah, lion, some varieties of panther-type cats. Instinct +1, evasion +3, melee instinct 8, D8 +2 physical. Gain advantage on attack, climb, sneak, fleet. Spend a hope to move up to fear. Excuse me, I'm going to read this again. Fleet. Spend a hope to move up to far range without rolling. Takedown. Mark a stress to move into melee range of a target and make an attack roll against them. On a success, you gain a +2 bonus to your proficiency for this attack, and the target must mark a stress. Winged beast. Hawk, owl, raven, etc. Finesse +1, evasion +2, mark finesse, D4 +2 physical. Gain advantage on deceive, locate, scare. Bird's eye view. You can fly at will. Once per rest while you are airborne, you can ask the GM a question about the scene below without needing to roll. The first time a character makes a roll or acts on this information, they gain advantage on the roll. Hollow bones. You gain a -2 penalty to your damage thresholds. On the page 34, we have the tier 3. We have the Great Raptor, Dire Wolf, Velociraptor, and the Saber-toothed Tiger, etc. Strength +2, evasion +2, melee strength, D12 +8 physical. Gain advantage on attack, sneak, sprint. Carrier. You can carry up to 2 willing allies with you when you move. Vicious Maul. When you succeed on an attack against a target, you can spend a hope to make them temporarily vulnerable and gain a +1 to your proficiency attack. Mighty Lizard, Alligator, Crocodile, Gila, Monster, etc. Instinct +2, evasion +1, melee instinct D10 +7 physical. Gain advantage on attack, sneak, track. Physical defense. You gain a +3 bonus to your damage threshold. Snapping strike. When you succeed on an attack against a target within melee range, you can spend a hope to clamp that opponent in your jaws, making them temporarily restrained and vulnerable. Great winged beast. We have the giant eagle, falcon, etc. Finesse +2, evasion +3, melee finesse D8 +6 physical. Gain advantage on deceive, distract, locate. Bird's eye view. You can fly at will once per rest while you are airborne. You can ask your GM a question about the scene below you without needing to roll. The first time a character makes a roll to act on this information, they gain advantage on the roll. Carrier. You can carry up to 2 willing allies with you when you move. Aquatic predator. Dolphin, orca, shark, etc. Agility +2, evasion +4. Melee agility D10 +6 physical. Gain advantage on attack, swim, track. Aquatic. You can breathe and move naturally underwater. Vicious Maul. When you succeed on an attack against a target, you can spend a hope to make them vulnerable and gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency for this attack. Legendary Beast. Upgraded Tier 1 options. Evolved. You pick a Tier 1 Beast option and become a larger, more powerful version of that creature. While you're in this form, you retain all traits and features from the original form and gain the following benefits. A plus D6 bonus to your attack rolls. A plus 1 bonus to the trait used by this form. A plus 2 bonus to evasion. Legendary Hybrid. Griffin, Sphinx, etc. Strength plus 2, evasion plus 3. Melee, strength D10 plus 8. Hybrid features. To transform into this creature, mark an additional stress. Choose any 2 beast form options from tiers 1 to 2. Choose a total of 4 advantages and 2 features from those options. Pretty cool. Tier 4. Massive Behemoth. Elephant, Mammoth, Rhinoceros, etc. Strength plus 3, evasion plus 1. Melee, strength D12 plus 12 physical. Gain advantage on locate, protect, scare, sprint. Carrier. You can carry up to 4 willing allies with you when you move. Demolish. Spend a hope to move up to far range in a straight line and make an attack roll against all targets within melee range of that line. Targets you succeed against take a D8 plus 10 physical damage using your physical and temporarily vulnerable. Let me reread this. Targets you succeed against take a D8 plus 10 physical damage using your proficiency and are temporarily vulnerable. Sounds much better. Undaunted. You gain a plus 2 bonus to all damage thresholds. Terrible Lizard. Brachiosaurus, Tyrannosaurus, etc. Strength plus 3, evasion plus 2. Melee strength D12 plus 10 physical. Gain advantage on attack, deceive, scare, track. Devastating strikes. When you deal severe damage to a target within melee range, you can mark a stress to force them to mark an additional hit point. Massive stride. You can move up to far range without rolling. You ignore rough terrain at GM's discretion due to your size. Mythic creature. Oh my god, I can't read. Mythic aerial hunter. Dragon, pterodactyl, rock, wyvern, etc. Finesse plus 3, evasion plus 4. Melee, finesse D10 plus 11 physical. Gain advantage on attack, deceive, locate, navigate. Carrier, you can carry up to 3 willing allies with you when you move. Deadly Raptor, you can fly at will and move up to far range as part of your action. When you move in a straight line into melee range of a target from at least close range and make an attack against a target in the same action, you can reroll all damage dice that roll the result lower than your proficiency. Epic aquatic beast. We have the giant squid, whale, etc. Agility plus 3, evasion plus 3, melee agility, D10 plus 10 physical. Gain advantage on locate, protect, scare, track. Ocean Master. You can breathe and move naturally underwater. When you succeed on attack against a target within melee range, you can temporarily restrain them. Unyielding. When you would mark an armor slot, roll a d6 on a result of 5 or higher. Reduce the severity of one threshold without marking an armor slot. Mythic Beast. Upgrade Tier 1 or Tier 2 options. Evolved. Pick a Tier 1 or Tier 2 Beast option and become a larger, more powerful version of that creature. While you're in this form, you can retain all the traits and features from the original form and gain the following bonuses. A +9 bonus to attack rolls. Let me reread that. Sorry. +9 bonus to damage rolls. A +2 bonus to the trait used by this form. A +3 bonus to evasion. Your damage die increases by one size. A D6 becomes a D8. A D8 becomes a D10, etc. Mythic Hybrid. Chimera, Cockatrice, Manticore. Strength +3, evasion +2, strength melee, D12 +10 physical. Hybrid features. To transform into this creature, mark 2 additional stress. Choose any of the beast form options from tier 1 to 3. Choose a total of 5 advantages and 3 features from those options. On the page 36, we have the Guardian. A title of Guardian represents an array of martial professions, speaking more to their moral compass and unshakable fortitude than the means by which they fight. While many Guardians join groups of militants for either their country or cause, they are more likely to follow those who they truly care for. Majority be damned. Guardians are known for fighting with remarkable ferocity, even against overwhelming odds, defending their cohort above all else. Woe betide those who harm the ally of a Guardian, as the Guardian will answer with injury and kind. Domains, Valor and Blade. Starting evasion 9. Starting hit points 7. Class items, a totem from your mentor or a secret key. Guardian's Hope feature. Frontline tank. Spend 3 hope and clear 2 armor slots. Class feature, Unstoppable. Once per long rest, you can become unstoppable. You gain an unstoppable die. At level 1, your unstoppable die is a D4. Place it on your character sheet in the space provided, starting with the 1 value facing up. After you make a damage roll, deal 1 more hit point to the target, increasing unstoppable die value by 1. When the die's value would exceed its maximum value, or when the scene ends, remove the die and drop out of unstoppable. At level 5, your unstoppable die increases to a D6. When unstoppable, you gain the following benefits. You reduce the severity of physical damage by 1 threshold. Severe majority to majority minor, minor to none. You add the current value of the unstoppable die to your damage roll. You can't be restrained or vulnerable. Tip: if your unstoppable die is a D4 and the 4 is currently facing up, you will remove the die the next time you would increase it. However, if your unstoppable die is increased by a D6 and the D4 is currently facing up, you'll turn it to D5 the next time you would increase it. In case you remove the die after, you would need to increase it to higher than 6. Guardian subclasses. Choose either the Stalwart or the Vengeance subclass. Stalwart, play the Stalwart if you want to take heavy blows and keep on fighting. Foundation features unwavering, gain permanent +1 to your damage threshold. Iron Will, when you take physical damage, you mark an additional armor slot and reduce the severity. Specialization features Unrelenting, gain permanent +2 bonus to your damage threshold. Partners in arms, when an ally within a very close range takes damage, you can mark an armor stress to reduce the severity of threshold by one threshold. Mastery features. Undaunted. Gain a permanent +3 bonus to your damage thresholds. Loyal Protector. When an ally within close range has 2 or fewer hit points and would take damage, you mark a stress to sprint to their side and take the damage instead. Vengeance. Play the Vengeance if you want to strike down enemies who harm you or your allies. Foundation features at ease. Gain the additional stress slot. Revenge. When an adversary within melee range succeeds on an attack roll against you, can mark a 2 stress to force the attacker to mark a hit point. Specialization feature. Act of Reprisal. When an adversary damages an ally within melee range, you gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency for the next successful attack you'll make against that adversary. Mastery feature. Nemesis. Spend 2 hope die to prioritize an adversary until your next rest. When you make an attack roll against the prioritized adversary, you can swap the result of your hope and fear dice. You can only prioritize one adversary at a time. Pretty cool background question. Answer the following background questions. You can also create your own questions from your community. Who from your community did you fail to protect, and why do you still think of them? You've been tasked with protecting something important and delivering it to somewhere dangerous. What is it and where does it need to go? You consider an aspect of yourself to be a weakness. What is it and how has it affected you? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions of their character to answer, or create your own questions. How did I save your life the first time we met? What small gift did you give me that you notice I always carry with me? What lie have you told me about yourself that I absolutely believe? Page 38, Ranger. Rangers are highly skilled hunters. Despite their martial abilities, they rarely lend their skills to an army. Though mastery of the body and deep understanding of the wilderness, rangers become sly tacticians, pursuing their quarry with cunning and patience. Many rangers track and fight alongside an animal companion with whom they forged a powerful spiritual bond. By honing their skills in the wild, rangers become expert trackers, as likely to ensnare their foes in a trap as they are to assail them head on. Domains. Bone and Sage. Starting evasion 12. Starting hit points 6. Class items. A trophy from your first kill or a seemingly broken compass. Ranger's Hope feature. Hold them off. Spend 3 hope when you succeed on an attack with a weapon to use that same roll against 2 additional adversaries within the range of the attack. Class feature. Ranger's Focus. Spend a hope and make an attack against a target. On a success, you deal your attack's normal damage and temporarily make the attacker's target of your focus. Until this feature ends, or you make a different creature your focus, you gain the following benefits against your focus. You know precisely what direction they are in. When you deal damage from them, they must mark a stress. When you fail an attack against them, you can end your Ranger's Focus feature to roll your duality dice. Ranger subclasses. Choose either the Beastbound or the Wayfinder subclass. Beastbound! Play the Beastbound if you want to form a deep bond with an animal ally, because animals are awesome. Spellcast trait, Agility, Foundation feature, Companion. You have an animal companion of your choice at the GM's discretion. They stay by your side unless you tell them otherwise. Take the Ranger's companion sheet. When you level up your character, choose a level up options for your companion from this sheet as well. Specialization feature, Expert training. Choose an additional level up option for your companion. Battlebound! When an adversary strikes you while they're within your companion's melee range, you gain a +2 bonus to your evasion against the attack. Mastery features. Advanced training. Choose 2 additional level up options for your companion. Loyal friend. Once per long rest, when the damage from an attack would mark your companion's last stress or your last hit points, and you're within close range of each other, you or your companion can rush to the other side and take that damage instead. Wayfinder. Play the Wayfinder if you want to hunt your prey and strike with deadly force. Spellcast trait, Agility. Foundation features, Ruthless Predator. When you make a damage roll, you can mark a stress to gain a +1 bonus to your proficiency. Additionally, when you deal severe damage to an adversary, they must mark a stress. Path forward. When you're traveling to a place you've previously visited, you can carry an object that has been at that location before. You can identify the shortest, most direct path to your destination. Specialization feature, Elusive Predator. When your focus makes an attack against you, you gain a +2 to your evasion against the attack. Apex Predator. Before you make an attack roll against your focus, you can spend a hope on a successful attack. You move a fear from the GM's fear pool. Background questions. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. A terrible creature hurt your community and you're vowed to hunt them down. What are they? And what unique trail or sign do they leave behind? Your first kill almost killed you too. What was it, and what part of you was never the same after that event? You've traveled many dangerous lands, but what is the one place you refuse to go? Connections! Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. What friendly competition do we have? Why do we act differently when we're alone than when others are around? What threat have you asked me to watch for, and why are you worried about it? Ranger Companion. When you choose a Beastbound Ranger subclass, take the companion sheet. This sheet is for tracking important information about your character's companion and can be tucked beneath the right side of your character sheet for ease of viewing. Step 1. Name your companion. Work with the GM to decide what kind of animal you have as your companion. Give them a name and add a picture of them to the companion sheet. Step 2. Write their evasion. Fill in their evasion. It starts at 10. Step 3. Choose their companion experience. Create 2 experiences for your companion based on their training and the history you have together. Start with +2 bonus experiences. Whenever you gain a new experience, your companion also gains one. All new experiences start at +2. Example, companion experiences: bold distraction, expert climber, fetch, friendly, guardian of the forest, horrifying, intimidating, loyal to the end, navigation, nimble, nobody left behind, on high alert, protective, royal companion, scout, service animal, trusted mount, vigilant. We always find them. You can't hit what you can't find. Step 4. Choose their attack and record damage die. Finally, describe your companion's method of dealing damage, their standard attack, and record all the attack and damage section at level 1. Your companion's damage die is d6 and their range is melee. Working with your companion. The following sections will run you through the basics of working with your companion. Using spellcast rolls, hope, and experiences. Mark a spellcast roll to connect with your companion and command them to take action. Spend hope and add applicable companion experience to the roll. On a success with a hope, if your next action builds on their success, you gain advantage on the roll. Attacking with your companion. When you command your companion to attack, they gain any benefits that would normally only apply to you, such as the effects of Ranger's Focus. On a success, their damage roll uses your proficiency and their damage die. Taking damage as stress. When your companion would take any amount of damage, they mark a stress. When they mark their last stress, they drop out of the scene by hiding, fleeing, or similar action. They remain unavailable until the start of your next long rest, while they return with one stress cleared. When you choose any downtime, move that. Excuse me. When you choose a downtime move that clears a stress on yourself, your companion clears an equal number of stress. Leveling up your companion. When your companion levels up, choose one available option for your companion from the following list and mark it on your sheet. Intelligence. Your companion gains a +1 bonus to a companion experience of your choice. Light in the dark. Use as an additional hope slot for your character to mark. Creature comfort. Once per rest, when you take time during a quiet moment, you give your companion love and attention and you gain a hope, or you can both clear a stress. Armored. When your companion takes damage, you can mark one of your armor slots instead of marking one of their stress. Vicious. Increase your companion's damage die or range by 1 step, d6 to d8, close to far, etc. Resilient. Your companion gains additional stress slot. Bonded. When you mark your last hit point, your companion rushes to your side to comfort you. Roll the number of d6s equal to your unmarked stress slots they have and mark them. Any roll of d6, your companion helps you clear your last hit point and return to the scene. Aware. Your companion gains a permanent +2 bonus to their evasion. And on page 41, we have the example of Ranger companion sheet. You can look at that yourself. On page 42, we got the rogue. Rogues are scoundrels, often in both the attitude and practice, broadly known as liars and thieves. The best among this class move through the world anonymously, utilizing their sharp wits and blades. Rogues trick their foes through social manipulation as easily as breaking locks, climbing through windows, or dealing underhanded blows. These masters of magical craft manipulate shadow and movement, adding an array of useful and deadly tools to their repertoire. Rogues frequently establish guilds to meet future accomplices, hire out jobs, and hone secret skills, providing there's honor amongst thieves for those who know where to look. Domains, Midnight and Grace, starting Evasion 12, starting hit point 6. Class items instead of forgery tools or a grappling hook. Rogue's Hope feature, Rogue's Dodge. Spend 3 hope to gain a +2 bonus to your evasion until the next time an attack succeeds against you. This bonus lasts until your next rest. The class features Cloaked. Anytime you will be hidden, you are instead cloaked. In addition to the benefits of the hidden condition, while cloaked, you will remain unseen if you are stationary when an adversary moves to where you would normally be seen. They would normally see you. Excuse me. When you move into or within an adversary's line of sight or make an attack, you are no longer cloaked. Sneak attack. When you succeed on an attack while cloaked or while an ally is within melee of your target, add a number of d6s equal to your tier or your damage roll. Level 1, Tier 1. Levels 2 to 4, Tier 2. Levels 5 to 7, Tier 3. Levels 8 to 10, Tier 4. The Rogue subclasses. Choose either the Nightwalker or the Syndicate subclass. Nightwalker. Play the Nightwalker if you want to manipulate shadows to maneuver through the environment. The spellclass trait. Spellcast trait. Finesse. Foundation feature. Shadow Stepper. You can move from shadow to shadow. When you move into an area of darkness or a shadow cast by another creature or object, you can mark a stress to disappear from where you are and reappear inside another shadow within 4 range. When you appear, you are cloaked. Specialization feature. Dark Cloud. Make a spellcast roll 15. On a success, create a temporary dark cloud that covers any area within close range. Anyone in this cloud can't see outside it, and anyone outside of it can't see in. You're considered cloaked for any adversary for whom the cloud blocks line of sight. Adrenaline. When you're vulnerable, add your level to your damage rolls. Mastery features. Fleeting Shadow. Gain a permanent +1 bonus to your evasion. You can see your Shadow Stepper feature to move within very far range. Vanishing Act. Mark a stress to become cloaked at any time. When cloaked from this feature, you automatically clear the restrained condition. If you have it, you remain cloaked in this way until you roll with fear or your next rest. Syndicate. Play the Syndicate if you want to have web of contacts everywhere you go. Spellcast trait. Finesse. Foundation feature. Well connected. When you arrive in a prominent town or environment, you know somebody. You call this place home. Give them a name. Note how you know they could be useful. And choose one fact from the following list. They owe me a favor, but they'll be hard to find. They're going to ask for something in exchange. They're always in a great deal of trouble. We used to be together. It's a long story. We didn't part on great terms. Specialization feature. Contacts everywhere. Once per session, you can briefly call on a shitty contact. Choose one of the following benefits and describe what brought them here to help you in this moment. They provide one handful of gold, a unique tool, or a mundane object that the situation requires. On your next attack roll, the help provides a +3 bonus to the result of your hope or fear die. The next time you deal damage, they snipe from the shadows, adding adding 2d8 to your damage roll. Mastery feature. Reliable backup. You can use your contacts everywhere feature 3 times per session. The following options are added to the list benefits you can choose from when you use that feature. When you mark 1 or more hit points, they can rush out to shield you, reducing the hit point mark by 1. When you make a presence roll in conversation, they back you. You can roll d20 as a hope die. The background questions. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. What did you get caught doing that got you exiled from your home community? You used to have a different life, but you tried to leave it behind. Who from your past is still chasing you? Who from your past were you most sad to say goodbye to? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. What did I recently convince you to do that got us both in trouble? What have I discovered about your past that I hold? What I discovered about your past that I hold secret from the others? Who do you know from my past, and how have they influenced your feelings about me? Page 44. Sephra. Sephras are divine fighters and healers imbued with sacred purpose. A wide array of deities exist within the realms, and thus numerous kinds of Sephras are appointed by these gods. Their ethos traditionally aligns with the domain or goals of their god. As such, defending the weak, exacting vengeance, protecting a land or artifact, upholding a particular faith. Some Sephras ally themselves with an army or locale, much to the satisfaction of their rulers, but other crusaders fight in opposition to follies of the mortal realms. It is better to be on the Sephra's ally than their enemy, as they are terrifying foes to those who defy their purpose. Domains, Splendor, and Valor. Starting evasion, 9. Starting hit points, 7. Class items, a bundle of offerings or a sigil of your god. Sephra's Hope feature. Life support. Spend 3 hope to clear a hit point on an ally within a close range. Class feature. Prayer dice. At the beginning of each session, roll a number of d4s equal to your subclass's spellclass trait and place them on your character sheet in the space provided. These are your prayer dice. You can spend any number of prayer dice to add yourself or an ally within far range. You can use a spent dice value to reduce incoming damage, add to a roll's result after the roll is made, or gain hope equal to the result at the end of each session. Clear all unspent prayer dice. Sephra subclasses. Choose either the Divine Wielder or the Winged Sentinel subclass. Divine Wielder. Play the Divine Wielder if you want to dominate the battlefield with a legendary weapon. Spellcast trait, Strength. Foundation features Spirit Weapon. When you have an equipped weapon with a range of melee or close range, it can fly from your hand to attack an adversary within close range and then return to you. You can mark a stress to target an additional adversary within range with the same attack roll. Sparing Touch. Once per long rest, touch a creature and clear 2 hit points or 2 stress from them. Specialization feature, Devout. When you roll your prayer dice, you can roll an additional die and disregard the lowest result. Additionally, you can use your Sparing Touch feature twice instead of once per long rest. Mastery feature, Sacred Renaissance. When you roll damage of your Spirit Weapon feature, if any of the die results match, double the value of each matching die. For example, if you roll 2 5s, they count as 2 10s. Winged Sentinel. Play the Winged Sentinel if you want to take flight and strike crushing blows from the sky. Spellcast trait, Strength. Foundation feature, Wings of Light. You can fly. While flying, you can do the following. Mark a stress to pick up and carry another willing creature approximately your size or smaller. Spend a hope to deal extra 1d8 damage on a successful attack. Specialization feature, Eternal Visage. Your supernatural visage strikes awe and fear. While flying, you have advantage on presence rolls. When you succeed with hope on a presence roll, you can remove a fear from the GM's fear pool instead of gaining hope. Mastery features, Ascendant. Gain a permanent +4 bonus to your severe damage threshold. Power of the gods. While flying, you deal an extra 1d12 damage instead of 1d8 from your Wings of Light feature. Background questions. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. Which god did you devote yourself to? What incredible feat did they perform for you in the moment of desperation? How did your appearance change after taking your oath? In what strange or unique way do you communicate with your god? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. What promise did you make me agree to should you die on the battlefield? Why do you ask me so many questions about my god? You've told me to protect one of the members in our party above all others, even yourself. Who are they and why? Page 46. Sorcerer. Not all innate magic users choose to hone their craft, but those who do can become powerful sorcerers. The gift of these wielders are passed down through families, even if the family is unaware or reluctant to practice them. A sorcerer's abilities can range from the elemental to the illusionary and beyond. And many practitioners band together into collective based on their talents. The act of becoming a formidable sorcerer is not the practice of acquiring power, but learning to cultivate and control the power one already possesses. The magic of the misguided or the undisciplined sorcerer is a dangerous force indeed. Domains, Arcane and Midnight. Starting evasion, 10. Starting hit points, 6. Class items, a whispering orb or family heirloom. Sorcerer's Hope feature. Volatile Magic. Spend 3 hope to reroll any number of your damage dice on an attack that deals magic damage. Class features. Arcane Sense. You can sense the presence of magical people and objects within close range. Minor Illusion. Make a spellcast roll. On a success, you create a minor visual illusion no larger than yourself within close range. This illusion is convincing to anyone at close range or farther. Channel Raw Power. Once per long rest, you can place a domain card from your layout into your vault and choose to either gain hope equal to the level of the card, enhance a spell that deals damage, gaining a bonus to your damage roll equal to twice the level of the card. Sorcerer's subclasses. Choose either the Elemental Origin or the Primal Origin subclass. Elemental Origin. Play the Elemental Origin if you want to channel your raw magic to take on the shape of a particular element. Spellcast trait. Instinct. Foundation feature. Elementalist. Choose one of the following elements at character creation: air, earth, fire, lightning, water. You can shape this element into harmless effects. Additionally, spend a hope and describe how your control over this element helps an action, roll, or you're about to make. Then either gain a +2 bonus to the roll or a +3 bonus to the damage roll. The roll's damage. Excuse me. Specializations feature. Natural evasion. You can call forth your element to protect you from harm. When an attack roll against you succeeds, you can mark a stress and describe how you use your element to defend you. When you do, roll a d6 and add its result to your evasion against the attack. Mastery feature. Transcendence. Once per long rest, you can transcend into a physical manifestation of your element. When you do, describe your transformation and choose 2 of the following benefits to gain until your next rest. +4 bonus to your severe threshold. +1 bonus to a character trait of your choice. +1 bonus to your proficiency. +2 to your evasion. Primal Origin. Play the Primal Origin if you want to extend the versatility of your spells in powerful ways. Spellcast trait. Instinct. Foundation feature. Manipulate magic. Your Primal Origin allows you to modify the essence of magic itself. After you cast a spell or make an attack using a weapon that deals magic damage, you can mark a stress to do one of the following. Extend a spell or attack's reach by 1 range. Gain a +2 bonus to the attack roll's result. Double a damage die of your choice. Hit an additional target within range. Specialization feature. Enhanced aid. You can enhance the magic of others with your essence. When you help an ally with spellcasting roll, you can roll a d8 as your advantage die. Once per long rest, after an ally has made a spellcast roll, with your help, you can swap the results of their duality dice. Mastery feature. Arcane charge. You can gather magical energy to enhance your capabilities. When you take magic damage, you become charged. Alternatively, you can spend 2 hope to become charged. When you successfully make an attack that deals magical damage while charged, you can clear your charge to either gain a +10 bonus to the damage roll or gain a +3 bonus to the difficulty of a reaction roll the spell causes the target to make. you stop being charged at your next long rest. Background questions. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. What did you do that made the people in your community wary of you? What mentor taught you to control your untamed magic, and why are they no longer able to guide you? You have a deep fear you hide from everyone. What is it? And why does it scare you? Excuse me. Connections! Ask your fellow players one of the following questions. For their character to answer. Let me just read that. Ask your fellow players the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. Why do you trust me so deeply? What did What did I do that makes you cautious around me? Why do we keep our shared past a secret? On page 48, yeah, we got the warrior. Okay, becoming a warrior requires years, often a lifetime of training and dedication to the mastery of weapons and violence. While many who seek to fight hone only their strengths, warriors understand the importance of agility, agile body and mind, making them some of the most sought-after fighters across the realms. Frequently, warriors find them employment within the army, a band of mercenaries, or even the royal guard. But their potential is wasted in any position where they cannot continue to improve and expand their skills. Warriors are known to have a favorite weapon. To come between them and their blade would be a grievous mistake. Domains, blade, and bone. The starting evasion is 11. Starting hit points is 6. Class items. The drawing of a lover or a sharpened stone. Warrior's Hope feature. No mercy. Spend 3 hope to gain a +1 bonus to your attack rolls until your next rest. Class features. Attack of opportunity. If an adversary within melee range attempts to leave that range, make a reaction roll using a trait of your choice against their difficulty. Choose 1 effect on a success, or 2 if you critically succeed. They can't move from where they are. You deal damage to them equal to your proficiency weapons damage. You move with them. Combat training. You ignore burden when equipping weapons. When you deal physical damage, you gain a bonus to your damage roll equal to your level. Yeah, baby. Warrior subclasses. Choose either the Call of the Brave or the Call of the Slayer subclass. Call of the Brave. Play the Call of the Brave if you want to use your might of your enemies to fuel your own power. Foundation features courage, yeah. When you fail to roll with fear, you gain a hope. Battle ritual. Once prolonged rest before you attempt something incredibly dangerous or face off against a foe who clearly outmatches you. Oh, there's no such thing. Describe what ritual you perform or preparations you make. When you do, clear 2 stress and gain 2 hope. Specialization features rise to the challenge. You are vigilant in the face of mounting danger. While you have 2 or fewer hit points unmarked, you can roll a d20 as your hope die. Mastery feature. Camaraderie. Your unwavering bravery is a rally point for your allies. You can initiate a tag team roll one additional time per session. Additionally, when an ally initiates tag team roll with you,
They only need to spend 2 hope to do so. Call of the Slayer. Play the Call of the Slayer if you want to strike down adversaries with immense force. Foundation feature Slayer. You gain a pool of dice called Slayer dice. On a roll with hope, you can place d6 on the card instead of gaining a hope, adding the die to the pool. You can store a number of Slayer dice equal to your proficiency. When you make an attack roll or damage roll, you can spend any number of these Slayer dice, rolling them an additional, adding them to the result of the roll. At the end of each session, clear any unspent Slayer dice on this card and gain a hope per dice cleared. Ooh. Specialization feature. Weapon specialization. You can wield multiple weapons with dangerous ease. When you succeed on attack, you can spend a hope to add one of the damage dice from your secondary weapon to the damage roll. Additionally, once per long rest, when you roll your Slayer dice, re-roll any ones. Mastery feature. Martial preparation. You're an inspirational warrior to all who travel with you. Your party gains access to the martial preparation downtime move. You can use this move during a rest. Describe how you instruct and train with your party. You and each ally you choose who chooses this downtime move gains a d6 Slayer dice. A PC with Slayer dice can spend it on a roll the die and add the result to the attack or damage roll of their choice. Now we got the background questions here. Answer any of the following background questions. You can also recreate your own questions. Who taught you to fight? And why did they stay behind when you left home? Somebody defeated you in battle years ago and left you to die. Who was it? And how did they betray you? What legendary place have you always wanted to visit? And why is it so special? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. We know each other long before this party came together. How? What mundane tasks do you usually help me with off the battlefield? What fear am I helping you overcome?
On page 50, we have the wizard. Whether through the institution or individual study, those known as wizards acquire and hone immense power over years of learning using a variety of tools, including books, stones, potions, and herbs. Some wizards dedicate their lives to mastering a particular school of magic, while others learn from a wide variety of disciplines. Many wizards become wise and powerful figures in their communities, advising rulers, providing medicines and healing, and even leading war councils. While these mages all work towards a common goal of collecting magical knowledge, wizards often have the most conflict within their ranks, as the acquisition, keeping, and sharing of powerful secrets is a topic of intense debate that has often resulted in innumerable deaths. Domains, Codex, and Splendor. Starting evasion 11. Starting hit points 5. Class items: a book you're trying to transcribe or a tiny harmless elemental pet. Wizard Hope feature. Not this time. Spend 3 hope to force an adversary within far range to re-roll an attack or damage roll. Class feature: prestidigitation. You can perform harmless, subtle magical effects at will. For example, you can change a object's color, create a smell, light a candle, cause a tiny object to float, illuminate a room, or repair a small object. Strange patterns. Choose a number between 1 to 12, and you roll that number on a duality die. Gain a hope or clear a stress. You can change this number when you take a long rest. Wizard subclasses. Choose either the School of Knowledge or the School of War subclass. School of Knowledge. Play the School of Knowledge if you want a keen understanding of the world around you. Spellcast trait, Knowledge. Foundation features. Prepared. Take an additional domain card of your level or lower for a domain you have access to. Adept. When you utilize an experience, you can mark a stress instead of spending a hope. If you do, double your experience modifier for that roll. Specialization feature. Accomplished. Take an additional domain card of your level or lower from a domain you have access to. Perfect recall. Once per rest. When you recall a domain card in your vault, you can reduce its recall cost by 1. Mastery features. Brilliant. Take an additional domain card of your level or lower from the domain you have access to. Honed expertise. When you use an experience, roll a d6 on a result of 5 or higher. You can use it without spending hope. School of War. Play the School of War if you want to utilize trained magic for violence. Spellcast trait, Knowledge. Foundation features, Battle Mage. You've focused your studies on becoming an unconquerable force on the battlefield. Gain an additional hit point slot. Face your fear. When you succeed with fear on an attack roll, you deal an extra d10 magic damage. Specialization features. Conjure Shield. You can maintain a protective barrier of magic while you have at least 2 hope. You add your proficiency bonus to the evasion. Fueled by fear. The extra damage from your Face Your Fear feature increases by 2d10. Mastery features. Thrive in chaos. When you succeed on an attack roll, you can mark a stress. After rolling damage to force the target to mark an additional hit point. Have no fear. Extra magic damage from your Face Your Fear feature increases 3d10. Background questions. Answer the following background questions. You can also create your own questions. What responsibilities did your community once count on you for? How did you let them down? You spent your life searching for a book or object of great significance. What is it, and why is it so important to you? You have a powerful rival. Who are they, and why are you so determined to defeat them? Connections. Ask your fellow players one of the following questions for their character to answer, or create your own questions. What favor have I asked of you that you're not sure you can fulfill? What weird hobby or strange fascination do we both share? What secret about yourself have you entrusted only to me? On page 52, here we have Ancestry. Ancestries represent your character's lineage, which affects their physical appearance. The following section describes each ancestry in Dagerheart and the physical characteristics shared by members of that ancestry. That said, you can decide that your character possesses characteristics that aren't standard or average for that ancestry. We encourage you to look into the art for inspiration and explore the diversity within individual ancestries as you craft your character's appearance. We hope this section provides a window into the various physicalities of the creatures that populate Dagerheart. As you play and meet members of each ancestry, you'll have the opportunity to learn about the nuances and unique qualities among them. You'll also notice that within the world of Dagerheart, the term people is used to refer to all ancestries and individuals of the lineages possess unique characteristics and cultures as well as personhood. Some ancestries are described using the term humanoid. This does not refer to a specific ancestry having any relation to humans in distinct ancestry within Dagerheart. Specifically, it refers to the set of physical characteristics readers will recognize from their own anatomy, such as bipedal movement, upright posture, facial layout, and more. These traits vary by ancestry and individual, though humanoid should still provide a useful frame of reference. Each ancestry has two ancestry features. While some features, such as the ability to fly, are directly tied to an ancestry's anatomy, you ultimately get to determine your creature's physical form. If you decide that your fairy character never had wings or lost theirs, you can work with the GM to replicate the wings feature that grants fairies flight. It's likewise up to you to decide how important your character's appearance is to their story. If you would like to make a character who combines more than one ancestry, see the Mixed Ancestry section on page 71. On page 53, we have the Clank. Clanks are sentient mechanical beings built from a variety of materials, including metal, wood, and stone. They can resemble humanoids, animals, or even inanimate objects. Like organic beings, their bodies come in a wide array of sizes. Because of their bespoke construction, many clanks have highly specialized physical configurations. Examples include clawed hands or for grasping, wheels for movement, or built-in weaponry. Some clanks embrace body modifications for style as well as function, and members of other ancestries often turn to clank artisans to construct customized mobility aids and physical adornments. Other ancestries can create clanks even using their own physical characteristics as inspiration. But it's also common for clanks to build one another. A clank's lifespan extends as long as they're able to acquire or craft new parts, making their physical form effectively immortal. That said, their minds are subject to the effects of time and deterioration as the magic that powers them loses potency. Ancestry features. Purposeful design. Decide who made you and for what purpose. At character creation, choose one of your experiences that best aligns with this purpose and gain a permanent +1 to it. Efficient. When you take a short rest, you can choose a long rest move instead of a short rest move. On the page 54, we have the Dracona. Draconas resemble wingless dragons in humanoid form and possess a powerful elemental breath. All Dracona have thick scales that provide excellent natural armor against both attacks and forces of nature. They are large in size, ranging from 5 feet to 7 feet on average, with both long, sharp teeth. New teeth grow throughout the Dracona's approximately 350-year lifespan, so they are never in danger of permanently losing their incisor. Unlike their dragon ancestors, Dracona don't have wings and can't fly without magical aid. Members of the ancestry pass down the elemental of their breath through generations, though in rare cases a Dracona's elemental power will differ from the rest of their families. Their ancestry features scales. Your scales act as a natural protection. When you would take severe damage, you can mark a stress to mark one fewer hit points. Elemental breath. Choose an element for your breath, such as electricity, fire, or ice. You can use this breath against a target or group of targets within very close range, treating it as an instinct weapon that deals d8 magic damage for your using your proficiency. Page 55 is the dwarf. Dwarves are most easily recognized as short humanoids with square frames, dense, muscular, and thick hair. Their average height ranges from 4 to 5.5 feet, and they are often broad in proportion to their stature. Their skin and nails contain a high amount of keratin, making them naturally resilient. This allows dwarves to embed gemstones into their bodies and decorate themselves with tattoos or piercings. Their hair grows thickly, usually on their beards, but some dwarves have thick hair across their bodies as well. Dwarves of all genders can grow facial hair, which they often style in elaborate arrangements. Typically, dwarves live up to 250 years of age, maintaining their muscular mass well into their later life. Ancestry features. Thick skin. When you take minor damage, you can mark 2 stress instead of marking a hit point. Increased fortitude. Spend 3 hope to have incoming physical damage. Page 56, we have the elf. Elves are typically tall humanoids with pointed ears and acutely attuned senses. Their ears vary in size and pointed shape. As they age, the tips begin to droop. While elves come in a wide range of body styles, they are all fairly tall, with heights ranging from 6 to 6.5 feet. All elves have the ability to drop into a celestial trance rather than sleep. This allows them to rest efficiently in a short amount of time. Some elves possess what is known as the mystic form, which occurs when an elf has dedicated themselves to the study of or protection of the natural world so deeply that their physical form changes. These characteristics can include celestial freckles, the presence of leaves, vines, or flowers, from their hair, eyes flicker like fire, and more. Sometimes these traits are inherited from parents, but if an elf changes their environment or magical focus, their appearance changes over time. Because elves live for about 350 years, these traits can shift more than once throughout their lifespan. Ancestry features. Quick reactions. Mark a stress to gain advantage on a reaction roll. Celestial trance. During a rest, you can drop into a trance to choose an additional downtime move. Page 57. Fairy. Fairies are winged humanoid creatures with insectile features. These characteristics cover a broad spectrum from humanoid to insectoid. Some possess additional arms, compound eyes, latent organs, chitinous exoskeletons, or stingers. Because of their close ties with the natural world, they also frequently possess attributes that allow them to blend in with various plants. The average height of a fairy ranges from 2 feet to 5 feet, but some fairies grow up to 7 feet tall. All fairies possess membranous wings, and they each go through a process of metamorphosis. The process and changes differ from fairy to fairy, but during the transformation, each individual manifests a unique appearance they will carry throughout the rest of their approximately 50-year lifespan. Ancestry feature. Luckbender. Once per session, after you or a willing ally within close range makes an action roll, you can spend 3 hope to re-roll the duality die. Wings. You can fly. While flying, you can mark a stress after an adversary makes an attack against you to gain a +2 bonus to your evasion against that attack. Page 58, Fawn. Fawns resemble humanoid goats with curving horns, square pupils, and cloven hooves. Though their appearances may vary, most fawns have a humanoid torso and a goat-like lower body covered in dense fur. Fawn faces can be more caprine or more human-like, and they have a wide variety of ear and horn shapes. Fawn horns range from short with minimum curvage to larger with a distinct curl. The average fawn ranges from 4 feet to 6.5 feet tall, but their height can change dramatically from one moment to the other based on their stance. The majority of fawns have a proportionately longer limbs, no matter their size or shape, and are known for their ability to deliver powerful blows with their split hooves. Fawns live roughly 225 years, and as they age, their appearance can become more increasingly goat-like. Ancestry features. Caprine leap. You can leap anywhere within close range as though you were using normal movement, allowing you to vault obstacles, jump across gaps, or scale barriers with ease. Kick. When you succeed on an attack against a target within melee range, you can mark a stress and kick yourself off them, dealing an extra 2d6 damage and knocking back either yourself or the target to very close range. Page 59. Furblog. Furblogs are bovine humanoids, typically recognized by their broad noses and long droopy ears. Some have faces that are a blend of humanoid and bison, oxen, cow, or other bovine creatures. Others, often referred to as minotaurs, have heads that entirely resemble cattle. They are tall and muscular creatures, with heights ranging from 5 feet to 7 feet, and possess remarkable strength no matter their age. Some furbolgs are known to use this strength to change their adversaries, an action that is particularly effective for those who have one of the many variety of horn styles commonly found in this ancestry. Though these unique characteristics can vary, all furbolgs are covered in fur and can be muted and earth-toned in color, or come in a variety of pastels such as soft pinks and blues. On average, furbolgs live for about 150 years. Ancestry features. Charge. When you succeed on an agility roll to move from far or very far range to melee range with one or more targets, you can mark a stress and add a d12 physical damage to all targets within melee range. Unshakable. When you would mark a stress, roll a d6 on a result of 6. Don't mark it. Wait, excuse me. Unshakable. When you would mark a stress, roll a d6. On the result of a 6, don't mark it. Excuse me. There you go. On page 60, fungrel. Fungrel resemble humanoid mushrooms. They can be either more humanoid or more fungal in appearance, and they come in an assortment of colors from earth tones to bright reds, yellows, purples, and blues. Fungal display an incredible variety of bodies, faces, and limbs, as there's no single common shape among them. Even their heights range from tiny 2 feet tall to a staggering 7 feet tall. While the common lifespan of a fungrel is about 300 years, some have been reported to live much longer. They can communicate non-verbally, and many members of this ancestry use a mycelial array of chemically exchange information with other fungal across long distances. Ancestry features fungal network make an instinct roll 12 in parentheses to use your mycelia array to speak with other of your ancestry. On a success, you can communicate across any distance. Death connection. While touching a corpse that died recently, you can mark a stress to extract one memory from the corpse related to a specific emotion or sensation of your choice. Page 61. Galapa. Galapa resemble an anthropomorphic turtles with large domed shells into which they can retract. On average, they range from 4 feet to 6 feet in height, and their head and body shapes can resemble any type of turtle. Galapa come in a variety of earth tones, most often shades of green or brown, and possess unique patterns on their shells. Members of this ancestry can draw their heads, arms, and legs into the shell for protection, to use it as a natural shield when defensive measures are needed. Some supplement their shell's strength or appearance by attaching armor or carving unique designs, but the process is exceedingly painful. Most Galapa move slowly, no matter their age, and they can live approximately 150 years. Ancestry traits. Shell. Gain a bonus to your damage thresholds equal to your proficiency. Retract. Mark a stress to retract into your shell. While in your shell, you have resistance to physical damage. You have disadvantage on action rolls, and you can't move. Page 62. Giant. Giants are towering humanoids with broad shoulders, long arms, and 1 to 3 eyes. Adult giants range from 6.5 feet to 8.5 feet tall and are naturally muscular regardless of body type. They are easily recognized by their wide frames and elongated arms and necks. Though they can have up to 3 eyes, all giants are born with none and... What? Though they can have up to 3 eyes, all giants are born with none and remain sightless for the first year of life, until a giant reaches the age of 10 and their features fully developed. The formation of their eyes may fluctuate. Those with a single eye are commonly known as cyclopses. The average giant lifespan is 75 years. Ancestry features endurance. Gain an additional hit point slot at character creation. Reach. Treat any weapon, ability, spell, or other feature that has the melee range as though it were very close range instead.
Page 63. Goblin. Goblins are small humanoids easily recognized by their large eyes and massive membranous ears, with keen hearing and sharp eyesight. They perceive details both at great distances and in darkness, allowing them to move through less optimal environments with ease. Their skin and eyes are incredibly varied, with no one hue either vibrant or subdued, more dominant than another. A typical goblin stands between 3 feet and 4 feet tall, and each of their ears is about the size of their head. Goblins are known to use their ear positions to very specific effects when communicating non-verbally. A goblin's lifespan is roughly 100 years, and many maintain their keen hearing and sight well until advanced age. Ancestry features. Sure-footed. You ignore disadvantage on agility rolls. Danger sense. Once per rest, mark a stress to force an adversary to reroll an attack against you or an ally within very close range. Page 64. Halflings. Halflings are small humanoids with large hairy feet and prominent round ears. On average, halflings are 3 to 4 feet in height, and their ears, nose, and feet are larger in proportion to the rest of their bodies. Members of this ancestry live for around 150 years, and halflings' appearance is likely to remain youthful even as they progress into adulthood, into old age. Halflings are naturally attuned to the magnetic fields of the mortal realm, granting them a strong internal compass. They also possess acute senses of hearing and smell and can often detect those who are familiar to them by sound of their movements. Ancestry features. Luckbringer. At the start of each session, everyone in your party gains a hope. Internal compass. When you roll a 1 on your hope die, you can re-roll it. Page 65. Human. Humans are mostly easily recognized by their dexterous hands, round ears, and bodies built for endurance. Their average height ranges from under 5 feet to 6.5 feet. They have a wide variety of builds, with some being quite broad, others lithe, and many inhabiting the spectrum in between. Humans are physically adaptable and adjust to harsh climates with relative ease. In general, humans live on an average of about 100, and their bodies changing dramatically between their youngest to oldest years. Ancestry features. High stamina. Gain an additional stress slot at character creation. Adaptability. When you fail a roll that utilizes one of your experiences, you can mark a stress and re-roll. Page 66. Infernus. Infernuses are humanoids who possess sharp canine teeth, pointed ears, and horns. They are descendants of demons from circles below. What about devils? On average, Infernuses range in height from 5 feet to 7 and are known to have long fingers and pointed nails. Some have long, thin, and smooth tails that end in points, forks, or arrowheads. It's common for Infernus to have 2 or 4 horns, though some have crowns of many horns or of only 1. These horns can grow asymmetrically, forming unique, often curved shapes that Infernuses enhance with carved and or
ornamentation, carvings and ornamentation. Excuse me. Their skin, hair, and horns come in an assortment of colors that can include soft pastels, stark tones, or vibrant tones such as rosy, scarlet, deep purple, and pitch black. Infernus possesses a dread visage that manifests both involuntarily, such as in when they experience fear or other strong emotions, or purposefully, such as when they wish to intimidate an adversary. This visage can briefly modify their appearance in various ways, including lengthening their teeth and nails, changing the colors of their eyes, twisting their horns, or enhancing their height. On average, infernus live up to 350 years, and some attributing this lifespan to their demonic lineage. Ancestry features. Fearless. When you roll with fear, you can mark 2 stress to change it into a roll with hope instead. Dread visage. You have advantage on rolls to intimidate hostile creatures. Page 67. Katari. Katari are feline humanoids with retractable claws, vertical slit pupils, high rectangular ears that can also have small pointed canine teeth. Soft fur and long whiskers that assist their perception and navigation. Their ears can swivel nearly 180 degrees to detect sound, adding to their heightened senses. Katari may look more or less feline or humanoid with cat-like attributes to the form, hair, whiskers, and muzzle. About half of the Katari population have tails. Their skin and fur come in a wide range of hues and patterns, including solid colors, calico tones, tabby stripes, an array of spots, patches, marbling, or brands. Their height ranges from about 3 feet to 6.5 feet. And they live around 150 years. Ancestry features. Feline instincts. When you make an agility roll, you can spend 2 hope to re-roll your hope die. Retracting claws. Make an agility roll to scratch a target with melee range. On success, they become temporarily vulnerable. Page 68. Orc. Orcs are humanoids, most easily recognized by their square features and boar-like tusks that protrude from their lower jaw. Tusks come in various sizes, and though they extend from the mouth, they aren't used for consuming food. Instead, many orcs choose to decorate these tusks with significant ornamentation. Orcs typically live 125 years, and unless altered, their tusks continue to grow throughout the course of their lives. Their ears are pointed, and their hair and skin typically have green hue, pink, or gray tones. Orcs tend towards a muscular build, and their average height is from 5 feet to 6.5 feet. Ancestry features. Sturdy. When you have 1 hit point remaining, attacks against you have disadvantage. Tusks. When you succeed on an attack against a target within melee range, you can spend a hope and gore the target with your tusk, dealing an extra 1d6 damage. Page 69, we have the ribbit. Ribbits resemble anthropomorphic frogs with protruding eyes, webbed hands, and feet. They have smooth, though sometimes warty, moist skin, and eyes positioned on either side of their head. Some ribbits have hind legs more than twice the length of their torso, while others have short limbs. No matter the size, which ranges from 3 feet to 4.5, ribbits primarily move by hopping. All ribbits have webbed appendages, allowing them to swim with ease. Some ribbits possess a natural green and brown camouflage, while other varieties of colors or bold patterns. No matter their appearance, all ribbits are born from eggs laid in the water, hatch into tadpoles, and after about 6 to 7 years grow into amphibians that can move on land. Ribbits live for approximately 100 years. Ancestry features. Amphibious, you can breathe and move naturally underwater. Long tongue, you can use your long tongue to grab onto things within close range. Mark a stress to use your tongue as a finesse close weapon that deals D12 damage using your proficiency.
Page 70. Simians resemble anthropomorphic monkeys and apes with long limbs and prehensile feet, while their appearance reflects all the simian creatures, from the largest gorillas to the smallest morsets. Their size does not align with their animal counterparts, and they can be anywhere from 2 feet to 6 feet tall. All simian can use their dexterous feet for non-verbal communication, work, and combat. Additionally, some also have prehensile tails that can grasp objects or help with balance during difficult maneuvers. These traits grant members of this ancestry unique agility that aids them in a variety of physical tasks. In particular, simian are skilled climbers and can easily transition from bipedal movement to knuckle walking and climbing and back again. On average, simians live up to 100 years. Ancestry features. Natural climber. You have advantage on agility rolls that involve balancing and climbing. Nimble, gain a permanent +1 bonus to your evasion at character creation. Page 71, Mixed Ancestry. Families within the world of Dagerheart are as unique as the peoples and cultures that inhabit it. Anyone's appearance and skill can be shaped by blood, magic proximity, or a variety of other factors. If you decide that your character is descendant of multiple ancestries and you want to mechanically represent it in the game, use the steps below. Step 1. Determine ancestry combination. When you choose an ancestry at character creation, write down how your character identifies themselves in the heritage section of your character sheet. For example, your ancestry could be a goblin or orc, or just goblin with orc in their lineage, or the name you choose like Toothling. Step 2. Choose ancestry features. Work with your GM to choose 2 features from the ancestries in your character's lineage. You must choose first feature from one ancestry and the second from another. Write down both on the note card you keep with you, your other cards, or next to your character sheet. For example, if you're making a goblin orc, you might choose the sure-footed and tusks features or the sturdy and danger sense features. You can't take both sure-footed and sturdy features. Your character's heritage includes more than 2. If
excuse me, if your character's heritage includes more than 2 ancestries, you only choose features from 2. You can represent additional ancestries through their appearance or backstory. Communities! 72. Communities represent the culture, environment your character grew up in. Though a character might have been a member of numerous communities during their upbringing, this choice represents the one they feel had the most influence over their personality and current skill set. As with ancestries, describing a characteristics of a collective is nuance, as people always view others through their lens of their own experience. For example, while a seaborne sailor might feel their own community is particularly strict, a character from an orderborn metropolis might find that group very changeable. An individual's relationship with their community also creates a wide variety of experiences. If your character has fallen out with the people that define their upbringing, they might continue to carry that influence, but also strive to live differently than they were taught. As you explore communities in this section, imagine the variety of ways they might manifest into your game. Some community cards reference locations, others ethos, and others a common goal, but 2 places that fall under the same category are identical. If one wanderborn cavern travels through a world willing and the other has expelled from its home by force, each community's material trappings and their people's feelings about their lifestyle would be very different. When you build your character, you can draw inspiration from communities other than the ones you've chosen. As always, this aspect of the game is meant to be utilized in the way that best serves your group. Each community has a community feature granted to your character by the community that can be utilized in play. Tip: each community entry suggests 6 adjectives that you can use as inspiration when crafting a character. If you'd like, choose one or more of these words or roll a d6 to help develop your character's personality, their relationship with their upbringing or peers, or even demeanor with which they interact with the rest of the party. Page 73, Highborn. Being part of a highborn community means you're accustomed to a life of elegance, opulence, and prestige within upper echelons of society. Traditionally, members of a highborn community possess incredible material wealth. While this can take a variety of forms depending on the community, including gold and other minerals, land, or controlling the means of production, this status always comes with power and influence. Highborn place a great value on titles and possessions, and there is a little social mobility within their ranks. Members of a highborn community often control the political and ethnical status of the areas in which they live due to their ability to influence people and the economy with their substantial wealth. The health and safety of less affluent people who live in these locations often hinges on the ability of this highborn ruling class to prioritize the well-being of their subjects over profit. Highborns are often amiable, candid, conniving, enterprising, ostentatious, and unflappable. Unflappable. Okay? Community feature privilege. You have advantage on rolls to consort with nobles, negotiate prices, or leverage your reputation to get what you want. 74. Lore-born. Being part of a lore-born community means you're from a society that favors strong academic or political prowess. Lore-born communities highly value knowledge, frequently in the form of historical preservation, political advancement, scientific study, skill development, or lore and mythology compilation. Most members of these communities research in institutions built in bastions of civilization, while eclectic few thrive in gathering information from the natural world. Some may be isolationists operating in smaller enclaves, schools, or guilds and following their own unique ethos. Others still wield their knowledge in a larger scale, making deft political maneuvers across governmental landscapes. Lore-born are often direct, eloquent, inquisitive, patient, rhapsodic, and witty. Community feature, well-read. You have advantage on roles that involve the history, culture, or politics of a prominent person or place. Order-born. Being part of an order-born community means you're from a collective that focuses on discipline or faith, and you uphold a set of principles that reflect your experience there. Order-born are frequently some of the most powerful among the surrounding communities. By aligning the members of the society around a common value or goal, such as God, doctrine, ethos, and even shared business or trade, the ruling bodies of these enclaves are able to mobilize larger populations with less effort. While order-born communities take a variety of forms, some have profoundly specific. Perhaps the most feared are those structures themselves around military prowess. In such cases, it's not uncommon for order-born to provide soldiers for hire to other cities or countries. Order-born are often ambitious, benevolent, pensive, prudent, sardonic, and stoic. Community features dedicated. Record 3 sayings or values your upbringing instilled in you. Once per rest, when you describe how you've embodied one of these principles through your current action, you can roll a d20 as your hope die. Page 76. Ridgeborn. Being part of a Ridgeborn community means you've called the rocky peaks and sharp cliffs of the mountains home. Those who've lived in the mountains often consider themselves hardier than most because they've thrived among the most dangerous terrain many continents have to offer. These people are adept at adaptation, developing unique techniques and equipment to both people and products across difficult terrain. As such, Ridgeborn grow up scrambling up, climbing, making them sturdy and strong-willed. Ridgeborn localities appear in a variety of forms. Some cities carve out an entire cliff face, others construct castles or stone, and still more live in small homes on wind-blown peaks. Outside forces often struggle to attack Ridgeborn groups, as the small militas and large military forces of the mountains are adept at utilizing their high ground advantage. Ridgeborn are often bold, hardy, indomitable, loyal, reserved, and stubborn. Community feature, sturdy. You have advantage on rolls to traverse dangerous cliffs and ledges, navigate harsh environments, and use your survival knowledge. Page 77, Seaborn. Being part of a seaborne community means you live on or near a large body of water. Seaborne communities are built both physically and culturally around specific waters they call home. Some of these groups live along the shore, constructing ports for locals and travelers alike. These harbors function as centers of commerce, tourist attractions, or even just a safe place to lay down one's head after weeks of travel. Some seaborne live on the water in small boats or large ships, with the idea of home comprising a ship and its crew rather than any one land mass. No matter their exact location, seaborne communities are closely tied to the sea tides and creatures who inhabit them. Seaborne learn to fish at a young age and train from birth to hold their breath and swim in even the most turbulent waters. Individuals from these groups are highly sought after for their sailing skills, and many become captains of vessels, whether within their own community, working for another, or even at the helm of a powerful naval operation. Seaborne are often cooperative, turbulent, fierce, resolute, and weathered. Community feature: know the tide. You can sense the ebb and flow of life. When you roll with fear, take a token of your community card. You can hold a number of tokens equal to your level. Before you make an action roll, you can spend any number of these tokens and gaining a +1 bonus to the roll for each token spent. At the end of each session, clear all unspent tokens. Page 78. Slyborn. Being part of a Slyborn community means you come from a group that operates outside the law, including all manner of criminals, grifters, and con artists. Members of Slyborn communities are brought together by their disreputable goals and their clever means of achieving them. Many people in these communities have an array of unscrupulous skills: forging, thieving, smuggling, and violence. People of any social class can be Slyborn, from those who have garnered vast wealth and influence to those without a coin to their name. To the outside eye, Slyborn might appear to be ruffians with no loyalty. But these communities possess some of the strictest codes of honor, which, when broken, can result in a terrifying end to the transgressor. Slyborns are often calculating, clever, formidable, perceptive, shrewd, and tenacious. Community feature: scoundrel. You have advantage on rolls to negotiate with criminals, detect lies, or find a safe place to hide. 79. Underborn. Being part of an Underborn community means you're from a subterranean society. Many Underborn live right beneath the cities and villages of other collectives, while some live much deeper. These communities range from small family groups in burrows to massive metropolises in caverns of stone. In many locales, Underborn are recognized for their incredible boldness and skill that enable great feats of architecture and engineering. Underborn are regularly hired for their bravery, as even the least daring amongst them has likely encountered formidable below-ground beasts, and learning to dispatch such creatures is common practice amongst these societies. Because of the dangers of their environment, many Underborn communities develop unique non-verbal languages that prove equally useful on the surface. Underborn are often comprised of elusive, indomitable, innovative, resourceful, and unpretentious. Community features low light living. When you're in an area with low light or heavy shadow, you have advantage on rolls to hide, investigate, or perceive details within that area. Moving on to page 80, Wonderborn. Being part of a Wonderborn community means you've lived as a nomad, foraging a permanent home and experiencing a wide variety of cultures. Unlike many communities that are defined by their locale, Wonderborn are defined by their traveling lifestyle. Because of their frequent migration, Wonderborn put less value on the accumulation of material possessions in favor for acquiring information, skills, and connections. While some Wonderborn are allied by a common ethos, such as a religion or set of political or economic values, others come together after shared tragedy, such as the loss of their home or land. No matter the reason, the dangers posed by life on the road and the choice to continue down that road together mean that Wonderborn are known for their unwavering loyalty. Wonderborn are often inscrutable, magnanimous, mirthful, reliable, savvy, and unorthodox. Community features nomadic pack. Add a nomadic pack to your inventory. Once per session, you can spend a hope to reach into this pack and pull out a mundane item that's useful to your situation. Work with your GM to figure out what item you take out. Page 81, we have Wildborn. Being part of a Wildborn community means you lived deep within the forest. Wildborn communities are defined by their dedication to the conservation of their homeland, and many have strong religious or cultural ties to the fauna that they live among. These results in unique agricultural and technological advancements that favor sustainability over short-term high-yield results. It is a hallmark of the Wildborn societies to integrate their villages and cities in the natural environment and avoid disturbing the lives of the plants and animals. While they construct lodgings in high and branches and trees, others establish their homes on the ground beneath the forest canopy. It is not uncommon for the Wildborn to remain reclusive and hidden within their woodland homes. Wildborn are often hardy, loyal, nurturing, reclusive, sanguine, and vibrant. Community feature: Lightfoot. Your movement is naturally silent. You have advantage on rolls to move without being heard. Page 82, additional player guidance. This section provides guidance for playing disabled characters in Dagerheart. Adjusting abilities and spells. Some abilities and spells in Dagerheart designate the use of particular assets and senses, including sight, sound, touch, and movement. Like characters can be blind, deaf, or mute, have disabilities or limb differences, or possess any number of unique qualities that occur among individuals. Just as there is no set style for weapons in combat, there's no set style for spellcasting within Dagerheart. No spell requires specific language or motions. For example, sign language is equally variable for a wordsmith bard as anything spoken aloud. If instructions in a game aren't a good fit for your character's abilities, such as blind, PCs, spell affecting your target, you can see work on your work with your GM to adjust the requirements of that effect. For example, you might choose to make one of the following adjustments to the rules or campaign. They are: utilize another sense target you can hear, specify the mechanism range within close range, add narrative character details. The PC uses an aid or a magical means to perceive the target, address it through world building. The mortal realm is accessible for disabled characters. Supporting your enjoyment for everyone at the table means modifying the spells, abilities, and other aspects of Dagerheart as you see fit. We invite you to adjust the flavor of cards based on the lines and the veils established by the group. See Session 0 for safety tools. Section on page 169. For example, a player might want their druid to use the Conjure Swarm spell, but either they or another player feels uncomfortable with bugs. In that case, they can conjure other objects such as flower petals, small birds, or even specific bugs such as butterfly. Everyone is comfortable with. All players, including the GM, should abide by the customizations made to accommodate one another. Playing Disability with Purpose and Respect by Rue Dickey, portraying a live experience such as disability other than your own is a powerful way to broaden your perspective when done with respect. Equality, disability, accessibility, and accommodations are a meaningful part of fantasy world building. For players interested in exploring these elements at the table, it's important to take care to avoid stereotypes and learn from disabled people themselves. Disabled identity. Like other marginalizations, such as race, gender, and sexuality, disability is just as much an identity as a state of being. When playing a disabled character, it's important to remember that disabilities are part of people, not a mask they can take off. Different individuals have difficult experiences with their disability, such as how long they've been disabled, how society has treated them because of it, and how accommodations for their disability are handled. All of these elements are important to consider when building a disabled character NPC or fantasy world with accommodations. Disability is a broad category with some or more visual, both literally and metaphorically, than others. Some disabilities commonly touched on the explored at the table include limb indifference, low mobility, mobility aids, low vision, hearing loss, neurodivergence, mental illness, mobility aids and prosthetics, and other commonly included in disabled representation. But it is also important to remember that these are countless invisible disabilities, such as chronic illness, chronic pain, genetic disorders, autoimmune conditions, neurodivergence, a blanket term that covers autism, ADHD, learning or cognitive disabilities, PTSD, and more. The mental illnesses can sometimes be considered invisible disabilities. When building an inclusive world, it is important to consider disabled people from all walks of life, not just those who are most visible. Mobility aids, prosthetics, and accessibility tools in fantasy. A key aspect to playing and including disabled characters in your narrative is ensuring that accessibility tools are part of the setting. Accessibility tools is a broad category for anything that makes the world more navigatable for a disabled person. From glasses to hearing aids or prosthetics, wheelchairs, canes, and more. These mobility aids and accessibility tools can take inspiration from real life using modern technology or historical reference. People have invented many ways to help disabled people access the world for thousands of years. But you should also feel empowered to get fun and fantastical with it. Make a prosthetic grown from plants and vines, or a wheelchair that floats using magic rather than align with your PCs or campaign. If you'd like to implement a mobility aid mechanically, see the combat wheelchair on section on page 122, telling disabled stories. When playing a disabled character, or when including disabled characters as central elements into the plot, it's important to know what sort of story you're telling. Is the adventurer's disability a central element of their character? Is it part of their backstory or something they gained as part of their adventures? How do they engage with that part of their identity? Are they proud of their disability, coming to terms with it, or looking for coping strategies? All of these stories are valid explorations and will have different implications and directions for your character's journey throughout the narrative. Some players will want to mechanically involve for their disability envelopment for their disabilities, while others will want more narrative flavor without the mechanic aspects. Above all, make sure the collective on the worlds you build, the characters you create, the stories you tell. Be open to adjustments and change, and take care of yourself and your fellow players. The game will be safer, richer, and more fun if everyone has a seat at the table. Page 84. Playing a blind or visually impaired character by Devin Rue. For ease of information, this section uses the term blind to refer to individuals who lack all sight and visually impaired VI, who refer to individuals with low vision that have visual impairments or who are legally blind by definition. Though every individual in the blind VI community has their own experience and preferences, here are a few tips on how to play a blind VI character respectfully. First, consider the following when developing their backstory. If your character was born blind VI, remember that from a very young age, blind VI children develop their own methods of interacting with the world. If your character wasn't born blind VI, what caused or is causing them to lose their vision? A sudden loss of sight can be traumatic, creating a sense of helplessness until they learn ways to adapt. If your character is visually impaired, what level of sight do they have? Do they see only shadows and light, or the things that are blurry that blobs in the distance? Does your character want to gain or regain their sight? Not all blind VI individuals care about curing their sight, especially if they're born that way. It's hard to miss something they have never had, and some treasure their unique interpretation of the world. On the other hand, those who have lost their vision might wish to regain it. Will your character use a cane? Blind people, VI people, don't use canes to see. Rather, they use them to gather information about the surface they're walking on by the sound or far their cane sinks into the ground, indicates or descents, and the edges of objects around them. Does your character have a service animal or familiar? Blind VI people develop close bonds with their service animal, and these companions alert them of potential danger or obstacles, guide them, and bring them items they need. While characters who aren't born blind VI could potentially see through the eyes of a familiar. A character who was born blind might not understand the images a familiar projects into their mind, as they haven't experienced sight and don't have the necessary context. Strive to give blind/VI PCs and NPCs the same level of independence and function as other characters in your game, and make them common enough to let others know that they not only exist in your world, they thrive. When role-playing, you're encouraged to include descriptives that go beyond appearance. Blind people do not inherently have heightened smell or hearing, but these senses can inform them about the environment. Think about the area's sense, temperature, wind flow, and more. Describe obstacles, people, and enemies in relation to the current position, such as starting as someone is several paces in front of a character, or referring to a clock face or compass when the character is always facing in the middle. Playing a deaf character by Rogan Shannon. Deaf people exist in a wide spectrum ranging from mild to profound deafness. Some are deaf in one ear but otherwise hear and speak, while others are entirely deaf in a fully visual world, or one of many possible combinations in between. When you play a deaf character, consider the many factors that influence how they move through their life. The following questions are a good start. Have you been deaf since birth, or did they become deaf later in life from illness or injury? How do they choose to communicate with their friends, loved ones, and the world at large? Growing up, did they learn how to speak, use sign language, or a combination of the two? If they don't speak the predominant language, how do they communicate? Do they use paper or pen? Or do they have accommodations, magical or otherwise? Is this person a loner, kept to themselves, interacting with people only when they have to, or part of the community of other deaf people? As an accommodation for a deaf character, the GM and players can flavor scenes using other senses. For example, a character might feel the rumbling of a dragon's deep roar or the intense heat from a fire spell rather than hearing the bellowing and the explosion of the flame. They may have a metallic taste in their mouth, and their hair may stand up on their arms as the air crackles with electricity. Rather than hearing the groan of the undead, their nose might be assaulted by the pungent scent of rot. When role-playing, be mindful of how you portray your character's chosen communication mode. Either speak as you normally would, or be intentional about how you do it. Above all, deaf people are people. Play them as you would any other character, while considering the added layer of how they move through the world differently due to communication needs. If you're able, don't hesitate to ask someone deaf for ideas and feedback. Neat. It brings me back a few years ago to my Link spoof character, which I still want to play since Link never spoke in the games. My Link, or Lincoln as his name was mute due to an underdeveloped larynx. So his high elf family, a little pompous they were, sold him to some fairies in the Feywild, where he befriended a fairy named Naughty. Not a cute little Navi, no, an old, crusty, dirty-minded fairy who nobody likes, hence the name. Anyway, I haven't played him yet, but it would be fun. In D&D, I imagined him as a ranger fighter with Naughty as his terrible translator. I'm sure he could be created in this game too. Probably much easier. I haven't figured out he would cast his ranger spells, signing maybe. I have included my illustrations of him, of course. I'll have to come up with some bad jokes and crass comments if I ever play naughty, who also likes to fart a lot and laugh about it. Thank you for your likes and subscriptions. I'd like to remind you that this is copyright material, so this content cannot be monetized. Your likes and thanks is all that I ask for all this hard work. This channel is to be helpful for those of you who need it. I am not a professional. I do not pre-read the material, don't have time, and I'm not being paid. But flaws make us beautiful, right? Perfect is a lie. I am beautifully flawful. Till next time.